Work commences on $2 billion Niger railway project.
Ministers, heads of agencies give update on progress made as Vice President presides over Economic Sustainability Committee.
Nigeria set to roll out National Food Systems Dialogue as UN Food Systems Summit approaches.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss matters arising from cryptocurrency.
Now, cryptocurrencies are digital or virtual currencies issued by largely anonymous entities and secured by cryptography. That's a method of encrypting and hiding codes that prevent oversight, accountability, and regulation.
This description by the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, aptly explains what cryptocurrencies are. They are also often referred to as tokens that can be exchanged with real money to access goods and services.
In 2009, the first decentralized cryptocurrency, known as Bitcoin, was created by an individual with the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto.
Now, the famous American investor Warren Buffett described cryptocurrency as rat poison, a mirage, and a gambling device. I assume, of course, it's because of its speculative nature.
That's right, Kyria. Now, cryptocurrencies are operated usually through the use of a technology known as blockchain, and more than 6,700 of these currencies are said to be traded publicly, and the appeal for certain types of them arises from the presumption that their value will appreciate over time.
Concerned persons have raised alarm over the fact that central banks have no serious control over the regulation of these currencies. This probably informs the recent statement by the CBN reiterating that cryptocurrencies were not real tender in Nigeria.
That's right. Now, the Apex Bank explained that it wasn't imposing new restrictions on the industry, but only reminding all banks, that's to say money deposit banks, of the content of its earlier circular dated the 12th of January 2017, directing them not to use, hold, trade, or transact in cryptocurrency, adding that the use of these currencies had been forbidden since then in Nigeria.
Countries like China have outrightly banned the use of cryptocurrencies, while Canada, Taiwan, Indonesia, Algeria, to mention a few, have placed certain restrictions on financial institutions facilitating transactions in these currencies. However, in the U.S., the industry is regulated through the different federal agencies.
Some financial analysts argue that the speculative and volatile nature of cryptocurrencies make them unpredictable and therefore dangerous.
Experts also insist that the unregulated nature of these currencies makes them vulnerable and prime transacting tools for money laundering, financing illegal arms and ammunition, illicit funds flow, as well as the other illegal activities such as terrorism.
Well, one question to ask is, what is the place of cryptocurrencies in the world's financial system? Why is the currency so controversial? And what is the situation of its use in Nigeria, even after the statement by the country's Apex Bank? Are these currencies the future of transactions, as stated by some of its protagonists? We'll have experts who will be joining us to speak to these issues in our conversation segment on Good Morning Nigeria, the midweek edition. My name is Kingsley Osadolo, and I thank you for tuning in.
And I'm Kyrian Umayo, also welcoming you to Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA.
As usual, we'll have our complimentary segments, and this will include newspaper review, business, and others. For now, let's join Musbah Udan Wahab for the highlights of the morning news. Good morning, Musbah.
So very good morning, Kinsley and Kieran. The news. Work has formally commenced on the $2 billion Kano Katsina Jibia Maradi railway project aimed at unlocking Nigeria's economic development potentials. This followed the virtual flag-off of the construction work on the vital transportation infrastructure by President Muhammadu Buhari. The president said the connection of the rail line to the Republic of Niger would not only foster trans-Saharan trade, but significantly contribute to the expected gains in the African Continental Free Trade Area agreements.
Line will establish an end-to-end logistics supply chain in railway transport services between northern and southern regions of the country, reaching Nigerian southern ports of Lagos and Warri.
Meanwhile, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says posterity will always remember President Muhammadu Buhari for his commitments in building infrastructure for the development of a nation. The minister stated this on the sidelines of a groundbreaking ceremony of a Kano Maradi Jibia railway project.
We have lost a lot of economy to Benin Republic, to Togo, and to Ghana. Now, many of our neighbors are landlocked, and they've been depending on the ports in Lomé, Accra, and Cotonou to feed their own economy. So what we have done today is to ensure that we become more competitive than all of them. With this railroad to Jibia to Maradi, that is cheaper for the exporter or importer in Maradi to bring its goods via the rails to our ports.
Away from that, ministers and heads of agencies are reporting further progress in the implementation of the Economic Sustainability Plan of the Buhari administration as Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo presides over a meeting of the Economic Sustainability Committee at the Presidential Villa. The Senate has received a presidential request for the confirmation of appointments of the new service chiefs. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, also read the request for the confirmation of 5 nominees, including the immediate past service chiefs as non-career ambassadors designate.
Irabo, Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Ibrahim Attahiru, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Isiaka O Amao, Chief of Air Staff. I hope that the distinguished Senate will consider and confirm the nominees in the usual expeditious manner. Please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest consideration.
Meanwhile, Chief of Army Staff Major General Ibrahim Attahiru says Nigerian military is working in tandem with forces of neighboring countries to ensure total annihilation of Boko Haram terrorists soon. Major General Attahiru disclosed this during his maiden operational visit to Maiduguri, the Borno State capital.
Is interested in what goes on in this theater and indeed any other theater where our troops are deployed. So first-hand information gets to him and he will strive and ensure those problems are resolved towards an overall success for the Nigerian Army, for the Nigerian nation.
Away from security, 3 civil society groups of the Nigerian Project Initiative to Save Democracy and Global Economic Policy Initiative have defended President Muhammadu Buhari against comments credited to Governor Samuel Otom over the president's body language to criminal bandits terrorizing parts of the country. In a joint statement, the groups explained that President Buhari is a patriotic, nationalistic and fair-minded leader ready to defend constitution contrary to the wrong assertion of a governor. The groups described the president as a leader committed to the defense of the rights of all citizens, majority and minority, including ethnic and religious minorities, under whose government the climate of impunity has been stamped out. The groups record the visit of President Muhammadu Buhari to Benue State when the state suffered attacks by criminal headsmen and bandits, during which he ordered law enforcement agencies to take action against the criminals. The civil society organizations asked Governor Samuel Tom to do more in improving the lives and living conditions of his people and addressing issues of violence between farmers and herders, instead of laboring to blame President Buhari for the situation in his state. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 1,056 new cases of COVID-19 in 21 states and the FCT. In the new figures, Lagos is leading in the new infection with 214 cases, followed by Osun State with 120, then the FCT with 116. Plateau has 88, Ebonyi 75, Kwara 73, Gombe 70, Ondo 57, and Rivers has 47 new cases. Other states are Akwa Ibom 38, Edo 25, Oyo 23, Kano 22, Delta 19, Katsina 18, Borno 16, Nasarawa 13. Ekiti and Ogun States recorded 8 new cases each. Bauchi has 4, while Benue and Jigawa recorded just a case each. With this, Nigeria now has 141,447 new confirmed cases of COVID-19, out of which 115,755 were treated and discharged, while 1,694 people have died of the virus. That concludes the morning news on Good Morning Nigeria. The program will continue with Kingsley and Kirian. After this break, have a good day.
My dear party members, there comes a time when all good people must not only speak, but rise up and get involved in the task of improving their society. The need has never been greater than now for all Nigerians to actively contribute to the all-important task of nation building by bringing about good leadership and governance. For most citizens, their greatest weapon is their vote. Register now for your party and register when the time comes for elections. Political parties are the main vehicles under our laws through which citizens can participate in the ideals and practices of our democracy. As we have seen happening around the world, good citizens join political parties and use them to bring about the changes they desire. I am therefore endorsing the nationwide membership registration and the revalidation exercise embarked upon by our party, the All Progressive Congress. I call on patriotic Nigerians to come out during the exercise, which starts on the 26th of January, and avail themselves of the opportunity to join the APC. Thank you, and may God bless our country.
Shola, come and help me. You need to learn.
But I'm more interested in drawing.
How are you going to be part of the business if you don't learn?
You just don't understand.
Morning. Anyone for some Lipton?
The rich taste of Lipton awakens body and mind.
Let me have a look at your drawings. Son, these designs are amazing.
Lipton Yellow Label Tea. Awaken to what really matters.
I bring you wonderful news. the village headmaster is coming back to your screen. Mo wire abi mi o wire.
Teacher Jowo, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Teacher Jowo, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Ọmọ onírẹsì ti dé.
Ajebo na better school for last gidi. Not be all this on a rugged school for Ijabi. I don't know for you.
Second, it's called Oja Village. Kadesi, we know happy at all.
And I know that even you too, you are getting a lot of orders. Hey, we are trying, shall sweep her leg out. She was standing there. Sweep it.
I love you so much.
And how did I give you the impression that I was interested in that position?
50-year anniversary.
You mean anniversary?
I mean, I talk with that now.
Not for me. Not for me because of Pamio.
For over 70 years, we've practiced healthy hygiene habits together. The world needs us to keep our fight going against germs. So let's wash our hands for 20 seconds regularly. Dettol. Protect what's worth fighting for.
Burnley is taking maximum points in their last two matches against Crystal Palace. Will they make it a hat-trick of victories when both teams square off at Selhurst Park this Saturday? Find out in Crystal Palace versus Burnley on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Babai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up in association with Gold.com.
Yeah, well, thank you for staying with us on Good Morning Nigeria. Now, let's talk business. IMF advises CBN to gradually unify exchange rates. We have this and more on Business News with Comfort Amodu.
Still trending is the reinforced ban on financial institutions to transact in cryptocurrencies by Central Bank of Nigeria. The Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, ABCON, has given its backing to the CBN policy. President ABCON Aminu Gwadabe says the regulator acted fast to curtail an emerging dangerous trend culpable of eroding Nigerians' anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing gains. He said before placing a ban on financial dealings that does not conform with the norm, the regulator should have gotten a financial intelligence on such operations, as seen in kidnappers now collecting Bitcoin for ransom, adding that cryptocurrency trading is so pervasive and widespread that every segment and all operators in the financial industry are becoming vulnerable to the operations not guided by regulations. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has advised the Central Bank of Nigeria to take a gradual and multi-step approach towards establishing a unified and clear exchange rate regime with a near-term focus on allowing for greater flexibility and removing the payments backlog. The bank's directors observed that multiple rates, limited flexibility and foreign exchange shortages are posing challenges. They further noted that the accommodative monetary stance remains appropriate in the near term, although tightening may be warranted if balance of payments or inflationary pressures are to increase.
Thank you very much, Comfort Amodo, for the business package. Next for us now is Newspaper Review.
now we have our reviewer, Bayo Atuebi, here with us in the studio. Bayo, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Kinsley. Good morning, Nigeria.
Good to see you. Okay, let's begin with the Nation newspaper. Nation newspaper from top to bottom. Let's take the first few headlines above the nameplate. Jigawa beggars hold governor hostage. With the rider, times are hard. Boa and COVID clash over plan to buy $3.4 million vaccine. Oshibajo registers for APC in Ogun State. Ex-Super Eagle Yisha Sofolue is dead. That's on page 8. That's a very sad story there. Yisha Sofolue was a defender for the Super Eagles, and he was nicknamed Dean of Defense by the late sports commentator Ernest Okonkwo. So rest in peace. Yisha Sofolue, ex-Eagle, dead at 53. You find the details on page 8. Below the nameplate, Kano Maradi rail line will serve over 80 million Nigerians, says Buhari. North governors declare open grazing outdated. And 2 riders, herdsmen to be educated on ranching. And Senate herders farmers conflicts dangerous. Minister hints at likely petrol price increase. And bandits killed 23 in Kaduna attacks. Herdsmen kidnapped 7 on Ilesha-Akure Highway. And the photograph you see there says, with the headline, NDLEA seizes 32 billion naira cocaine at Lagos Port. This is a big haul. That's the Tinkan Island Port in Lagos, and the seizure was by officials of the NDLEA on Monday. Other headlines there on the front page: government to crash oil production costs, and army to rotate troops. And lastly, at the foot of the front page, 10 billion naira fraud charge slammed on Stella Odua and firm. That's on page 6. And 6 bandits surrender in Zamfara. Kyrian.
Yes, Daily Trust now. Let's go to Daily Trust. You just read 6 bandits surrender in Zamfara. Now, mastermind of Kankara Boys kidnap gives reasons for surrender. Perhaps that story has a link with the one we just read. It's on page 6. Mastermind of Kankara Boys kidnap gives reasons for surrender. Nigerians react as federal government alerts on fuel price increase. That's on page 18. NEMA sacks 48 workers 1 year after recruitment. That's on page 4. Quit order to herders. That's the kicker. Now talking about the lead story on the Daily Trust. Northern governors confirm reprisal threats. With 3 riders, want 36 governors to meet over tension. Inter-tribal agitations worrisome, according to Lawan. Gumi tackles El-Rufai as bandits kill 23 in Kaduna. Now below the photo story on the Daily Trust, we have federal government to complete Kano Maradi railway project by 2023. That's on page 19. Of course, the part of the photographs on the front page of the Daily Trust will show you the groundbreaking ceremony which took place just yesterday. All right, SANU and NASU strike takes toll on students. It's on page 6. Sanusi backs Ganduja's decision on Sheikh Abdul Jabbar. That's on page 31. JAMB to prosecute 200 exam fraudsters with 100 million. That's according to the registrar. JAMB to prosecute 200 exam fraudsters with 100 million naira. It's on page 12 of the Daily Trust Network. Let's bring in Bayo now for analysis.
Thank you, Kirian. Let's look at the groundbreaking ceremony regarding the Kano Katsina Jibia Maradi Railway. President Muhammadu Buhari described it as a service between northern and southern region and also a significant trading core between Nigeria and Niger. He says it's a virtual groundbreaking. He said it as a virtual groundbreaking ceremony to commence the construction of the railway line by a Portuguese company. The route, he said, will cover territory inhabited by 80 million Nigerians across 10 states of the Federation, with a branch to Duse in Jigawa State. He also said the connection to Maradi in Niger will serve as an import and export of goods for landlocked Niger and other countries, for which Nigeria will earn tremendous revenue. It will also expand trade and commerce, foster trans-Sahara trade, and contribute to Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. He highlighted that railway infrastructure that covers Lagos to Kano, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Makurdi, and Maiduguri, as well as the east-west coastline from Lagos to Calabar, linking all the ports, and the central railway from Itakpe to Baro, Abuja, and Lokoja. When all these are realized, Nigeria will have overcome the infrastructural deficiency in that transport sector. Meanwhile, there are anxieties over crude oil prices, which reports indicate have risen to about $61. The anxieties were heightened yesterday when the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources said Nigerians are joyously expecting the benefit from the rising oil revenue, but the pains of rising cost of petroleum products is a concomitant implication. Speaking at the launch of the Nigeria Upstream Cost Optimization Program, he said oil prices at $60 as yesterday is desirable, and it has implication for NNPC. He drew attention that in the era for which there is no longer oil subsidy, we know there is no subsidy, so somewhere NNPC cannot continue to take this blow. The Punch reports that the landing cost of import of petrol now has increased by 13.34%. Since November 13, when the last pump price was increased, the oil price in the world market has increased by 45%. And the Nigerian Labour Congress has also been reacting. They say that although there is increase in the world price, but any increase in the pump price will be a violation of the spirit of consultation. The Deputy President, Joe Ajero, has said that Labour and the federal government are still negotiating on, over the November 20th increase in petrol price. The anxiety is predicated on the increase in the oil world price. The federal government and Labour set up a technical committee which met and submitted a final report. The report was given to Labour, and Labour has up to February 17th, a week from today, to make inputs and report back. And Labour is insisting that federal government, the federal government or the NNPC should not increase true pump price until the technical committee concludes its report. There's also controversy about disputation about vaccine that has been paid for. The Bua group of companies said it's acquired 1 million doses of vaccine, but the Coalition Against COVID-19, CACOVID, says that no individual company can pay for that. The explanation from it was that there was a meeting for which the CACOVID was told that of the 42 million doses of vaccine that is available for Nigeria, 1 million was ready at a price of $3.45. And when nobody offered to make procurement, Bua company paid the Naira equivalent to Central Bank for that, and therefore they put out the notice that they have paid for the COVID-19. But CACOVID is saying that yes, it was paid for, but it was paid for by the Central Bank from the money that is collectively pooled by all those involved by COVID-19. It reminds me of a town hall meeting where a snake surfaced all of a sudden. Everybody scampered, and the woman killed the snake. At the end of the day, say, where are you men? And the men say, at the end of the day, the snake is dead. So it doesn't matter whether Bua paid or CACOVID paid, so long as it is paid and we secure the vaccines to kill COVID-19.
Yeah, well, it should be commended, actually, yes, for making such payments, because we're in dire need of the vaccine. Of course, the COVID-19 in Nigeria has been on the increase for some weeks now. So we need the vaccine. So whoever pays for it, it does not make any difference.
So long as the vaccine gets there,
exactly,
and it helps us to eliminate COVID-19.
Exactly.
Former Super Eagles player Issa Sofo-Oluwe has died. He died aged 53. Issa Sofo-Oluwe on Tuesday evening had complications for cerebral atrophy, for which he was moved from a private hospital to Lagos University Teaching Hospital. Prior to that, the Honorable Minister for Youth and Sport has sent support for his treatment and has also urged the state governors in those areas to help support Issa Sofolue. He was rushed to the Lut eventually, but he eventually died from there.
He was in a coma for some days.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
he had about 40 caps for the Super Eagles, and he was a member of the 1984-85 Africa Cup of Nations team. He also played for 3SC, Abiola Babes, and other clubs between 1985 and 1987. He was renowned as some call him the Minister of Defense, the Dean of the Defense, Ernest Okonkwo. Ernest Okonkwo had several names for footballers. He called Segun Odegwami mathematical Odegwami. And sometimes he has the way of linking his commentary with the realities on ground that it catches everybody's attention.
Because Christian Chukwu, chairman.
Chairman Christian Chukwu. Ernest Okonkwo himself passed on in 1990.
Yes.
He was one of Nigeria's most respected sports commentators. Some of those soccer players, Adoke Amasemeka, he named him Chief Justice.
Yes.
Adoke Amasemeka, of course, is a lawyer.
At that time,
Aloysius Atwegbo
was a student. He was a student in the Faculty of Law.
Yes. You know, Aloysius Atwegbo was nicknamed Blockbuster. And then at some point, the same Yisa Sofolue, it was Yisa Sofolue. Shuffle. He was a creative defender.
Very creative, yes.
You know, it was a number of those names. Some of them, of course, one is not immediately able to recall. There was also Silvanus Okwala.
Midfield mastery.
Midfield mastery.
And when you play...
I was just going to remember that of Silvanus Okwala, Quicksilver. That was what...
and when you play a good shot, he calls it the ballistic missile.
Intercontinental ballistic missile. Well, Issa Sofolue, sometimes these stories emerge when it's probably too late in the day. Yes, unfortunately. May so rest in peace.
There's also the cocaine haul as the port. 32 kilograms worth of, 32 billion naira worth of cocaine. It had come on as a cargo. There was surveillance on it, and when the clearers came to clear it, they were arrested. If you recall, in the past 2-3 weeks, there have been massive seizures, especially at the Lagos Murtala Mohammed International Airport. There was one that was brought in by a hairstylist. It was also millions naira worth of cocaine. So another abandoned the baggage completely and went home. They traced him and arrested him. And all are coming in from Brazil through Ethiopian Airlines. It's very worrying.
It's very worrying. And the airlines should be brought into this matter, if you ask me, because you know, who cleared the cargoes before it was...
well, that's part of that's part of what has been done. That's, as the saying goes, a new sheriff in town. Marwa, of course, is the new chairman of the NDLA. And since he came on, we've seen reports of these seizures to let the couriers recognize that Nigeria is no longer a safe corridor for transiting cocaine or heroin or other hard drugs. This is a big haul.
It is. Yes.
It's a big haul.
So, and it means that this business has been going on. Been going on at a very large scale, you know.
Absolutely.
This discovery. Okay. Absolutely. At this point, you know, we'll have to thank Bayo.
Thank you. Bayo, before you would thank Bayo, yes. I think that at some point we should begin to even avoid stories as to whether petrol price is going to increase on account of the rise of prices on the crude oil market. But everybody knows that now. It's the principle. But it doesn't mean that if prices rise on the international market today, then by tomorrow petrol prices will rise. Because if you are importing, it takes you a while, you know, to place your order, to get them on the high seas, to even offload at the ports. That is the embarrassing aspect of it. Even more embarrassing is we're talking about this now because our foreign refineries are dead.
But ideally, that is the ideal situation. Already, the Marketers Association has raised alarm that at depot, they have already shut shop in anticipation of increased prices.
Precisely.
So
speculation.
Danger.
Speculation, hoarding, fix your refineries, and then
the international market.
We'll not be talking so much about all of it. Everybody saying Dangote refinery is coming. It's a private business. You will see what it will do when the refinery starts.
All right, Bayo. Thank you again for coming this morning. As always, we'll see you again tomorrow for more analysis on all the papers are saying. You are watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Of course, our main conversation this morning is on the matters arising on the issue of cryptocurrency. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth Entrepreneurship Support Years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
For over 70 years, we've practiced healthy hygiene habits together. The world needs us to keep our fight going against germs. So let's wash our hands for 20 seconds regularly. Dettol. Protect what's worth fighting for.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains remover. Harpic sticker formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergent and bleach.
Wow! Now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
Burnley is taking maximum points in their last two matches against Crystal Palace. Will they make it a hat-trick of victories when both teams square off at Selhurst Park this Saturday? Find out in Crystal Palace versus Burnley on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Babai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up, in association with Gold.com.
The program is Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. To set the tone for our conversation on cryptocurrency in Nigeria, let's take this background report by Kunle Adeyeye.
One of the issues that has got the financial world talking besides the effect of COVID-19 is cryptocurrency. The trade in cryptocurrency might not be the easiest to understand, as it can be complex, but many Nigerians over the years have now understood the dynamics. This might not be far from the reported astronomical profits subscribers make. There are over 1,000 cryptocurrencies, but the most popular among them is the Bitcoin. The Central Bank of Nigeria, in a swift reaction in 2017, compelled all financial institutions not to use, hold, trade, or transact in cryptocurrencies, a position which was later reiterated in 2018. The Apex Bank on February 5, 2021 directed all financial institutions to, with immediate effect, put a stop to all tradings with regards to cryptocurrency. Reasons given by the CBN are cryptocurrencies are digital or virtual currencies issued largely by anonymous entities and secured by cryptography, which aids hiding of code and prevents oversight, accountability, and regulation. The latest action from the Central Bank of Nigeria has been viewed in divergent ways. Some described these currencies as another Ponzi scheme when they came to Nigeria and concluded that dire consequences await subscribers in no distant time, while its proponents insist it's the currency of the future. With this contrasting stance by antagonists and the proponents, what is the way out of this dilemma? Guests on Good Morning Nigeria are waiting with answers.
Many thanks, Kunle Adeyeye, for that backgrounder. Now, joining us to discuss this issue, we have some of our regular financial analysts, but here with us in the studios, we would like to welcome Mr. Fawaz Sholademi, who is an associate partner at DigiChain Global Service Limited. Mr. Fawaz, pleasure to have you with us
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Also, joining us from our Lagos Network Center, I would like to welcome Shuaibu Idris, who is a financial analyst and member, National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies. Shuaibu Idris, one of our regulars, delighted to have you this morning.
Good morning, Nigerians. Thank you for having me, Kingsley.
And also being part of this conversation this morning, this time from our Enugu Network Center, we'd like to welcome Professor Ken Ife, the Professor of Economic Policy Analysis. Prof, delighted to have you from the coast city today.
And joining us via Zoom is Taylor Adebajo, a financial analyst. We're also glad to have you this morning on our program.
Good morning.
So joining us via Zoom is Ajibola Duro-Jayola Phillips. He is the Chief Executive Officer, Fedon Investment Company. He is a business consultant and runs an online academy on digital marketing, funds management, and growth. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
For having me. Good morning.
All right, gentlemen, once again, our pleasure to have you with us on this conversation. Let's just begin by having an understanding of what the cryptocurrencies are all about. Myself and my colleague did, of course, have in our introduction a broad statement about cryptocurrency, beginning with Professor Ken Ife in our Enugu Network Center. Professor Ken Ife, well, it's a long way back when cowrie shares were used as a means of exchange and also store of value. But now we keep hearing cryptocurrency, and last week the CBN restated its, shall we say, ban on transacting business in cryptocurrencies. What are cryptocurrencies?
Currencies are digital currencies. You know, traditional currencies are issued by known authorities such as banks, central banks. And traditionally, even though the central bank has also been looking at the possibility since 2005, looking at the possibility that it could itself issue some form of digital currency in the future. But what we have now is a digital currency that has been issued or being issued, but with no central issuing authority that you can say it is coming from here. And it has a lot of challenges with it because it's difficult to allow that to come into a system where you don't have a legal regulatory and national framework that could regulate it. So if you look at central bank, the core mandates are financial system stability and price stability. So both core mandates are hostage to the vulnerability of cryptocurrency in its current form. Not that it won't come in the future, but in its current form, there are vulnerabilities that challenge the core mandates of CBN in this area. So those vulnerabilities, of course, we are going to discuss them. The vulnerabilities are in the secrecy of the blockchain, the fact that a lot of money can come in, laundered money, criminal, all kinds of things can come in through that conduit. And you have no way of regulating it. And you have no way of protecting the users. So that's a major source of concern. But the second one, which is most critical, is that it is built on a blockchain technology. Now, blockchain technology is a robust technology built on trust, but it has a heavy level of security and secrecy on it. So if you can't access it, if you cannot control it, it becomes problematic. But what is much more problematic about it is that it is a multi-sectoral, multi-dimensional. So many sectors are heavily affected by it. So CBN is not a technology regulatory institution. The interest that it has comes when you begin to use the technology to promote financial services, then they have interest. So it doesn't regulate technology. So if you're going to do anything on this, you have to bring all the stakeholders that are involved. And I think we will have time to talk about that because NOTAB, NITDA, SEC, there are many organizations that have interest in the technology. And so they have to be part of a high command and technical group that look at how this is going to be digested, understood, and then the latitudes for control and the boundaries of control and who does what before you can actually bring this into the system.
All right. Thank you, Prof. And let's return to our studio here in Abuja, where we have Fawaz Sholalemi, associate partner, DigiChain. Now, shed more light on what cryptocurrency is all about.
Okay, thank you very much. Cryptocurrency, for me, is the seventh digital disruption. The seventh digital disruption in the sense that when you look at our present world, our world has gone through a series of disruptions in the digital world. The first happens to be the television. You have the internet, you have email, you have social media, you have e-commerce, and you have the mobile revolution. Now you have the blockchain technology, cryptocurrency. So basically, it is the seventh digital disruption, and it is actually expected. Why? Because money, when you look at the concept of money itself, money has a way of disrupting itself. And when you now place it side by side technology and you look at what has happened with our normal mobile money transfers and the value chain around transactions, you will discover that there is actually a need to improve the state of money. Okay? So back then in 2008, there was global economic meltdown and an idea came. Can't we decentralize the process of money? And someone came up with a white paper where you can do a peer-to-peer electronic transaction using a technology called the blockchain, which the professor referred to. So the background is actually as a result of digital disruption that is something that we may not be able to even explain because we are talking about cryptocurrencies today. A few years from now, you'll be talking about something else because technology will keep evolving. So cryptocurrency, for me, is that evolved state of money that we all will eventually get into, whether or not we like it, basically. So it's a digital currency, yeah, as rightly said, and it runs on a blockchain on a technology called the blockchain. And what the blockchain does is very simple. It records, validates, and verifies transaction. That's all it does. It records transaction, validates it, and verifies it in a decentralized manner such that everyone can know what is happening. Sometimes I find it very difficult to understand why people attach so much anonymity with the blockchain. The blockchain is actually a transparent method of financial transaction, because I can easily go on my blockchain platform and know what is happening with the Bitcoin or with any cryptocurrency of choice using that platform. So it's actually very transparent, and if we want to get it right, we need to look at the blockchain properly within its context.
All right. Thank you very much, Fawaz. We'll return to you. Let's go over now to Mr. Tilewa Adebajo, one of our regulars. He's on Zoom along with Ajibola. Let's take Tilewa first. Mr. Tilewa Adebajo, tell us something. I mean, for the uninitiated, the word crypto in the first instance suggests, from the derivative, which is crypt in the first instance, suggests something that is secretive, something that is underground, something that is probably sly. How do we understand cryptocurrency against the background of what we are hearing, blockchain, and so on and so forth, especially because money is supposed to be backed by value?
The challenge, crypto means the encryption. And as I've said, everybody needs some sort of security in terms of their money. So the crypto is, the encryption is giving the people the confidence to be able to use this technology and move into a digital space. I think what is also important for us to know is that when something happens, this is something that is changing the fundamentals of the way we operate. Take Netflix and the way it's changing television, take Uber and the way it's changing the taxi services. So there are these sort of disruptive technologies that are coming from time to time. And it's important, I think, as the central bank is saying, that they need to regulate this industry and understand what it's all about. Because the encryption you're talking about, meaning that it has that secrecy, meaning that you know that you're secure. That's what gives you the security for your money. Knowing that if you log onto a system, it's a system that is safe. And once you know your money is safe, you will be able to at least attract yourself to this, because that's what we're all looking for in keeping our money. Safety, security, and that is what you talk about, value. So without a doubt, I think this is a game changer. And we need to look at it very carefully. The beauty of Bitcoins and cryptocurrency is the fact that you eliminate exchange rates. You have one singular basis for an understanding. So if you want to trade with somebody in China, you're not still worried about what the exchange rate with yuan is or what the exchange rate with the dollar is. So right now, the biggest threat is to the dollar standard globally that we're seeing. But having said that, I think the central bank, I think in its responsibility, is right to be able to take a look at this. But you see, unfortunately with Nigeria, when something is introduced here, Nigeria is probably the second or the third largest market globally for Bitcoins behind the United States. And that is pretty significant for the size of our economy. So the question is, what sort of activities are we engaging in that is making us a huge user of cryptocurrencies? And the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI in the United States, recently wrote to the central bank saying they were concerned about the use of cryptocurrencies for fraud. So it is rather unfortunate that we in Nigeria, we have tied cryptocurrency to fraud, or what we call 419 and the Yahoo syndrome. So it is giving us a different perspective on how we're looking at it and the way it is being introduced. So it is important that, while Bitcoin is still gaining ground, and you can see what has happened recently as of last week, Elon Musk and Tesla made a significant investment in cryptocurrency, in Bitcoins, and this is really beginning to give people confidence. Now, again, the authorities are also scared because people who use Bitcoins are what you call bearer, or cryptocurrencies are bearer in nature. You have what you call bearer bonds, whereby you don't know who is holding those bonds, but once they present those bonds, you have to honor them. Now, with this issue of terrorism, people evading taxes and things like that, governments all over the world are very concerned about the use of cryptocurrencies. While, I mean, they have their benefits, and I think they're here to stay, it is important that we in Nigeria understand what this can do for us, the benefits, and let's properly regulate it so that it does not have that perception that it's a Yahoo tool. And we need to give the world the right perceptions, and this needs to be properly introduced and, of course, properly regulated so that we can all benefit from the gains of this new disruptive technology.
All right, thank you. You're talking about the gains of Nigeria being part of a cryptocurrency use. Let's bring in Ajibola Duro Jayola Phillips here. What is your own view? You have just listened to two of our guests who have made the inputs with respect to cryptocurrency, what they're all about, and how it could be futuristically an imperative means of business transaction.
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying this. I got into cryptocurrency. I bought my first Bitcoin, I think, in 2014. What pushed me to believe in Bitcoin is the fact that I wanted to pay for something online, and I was having issues. So the person said, I can send Bitcoin. I bought a Bitcoin of maybe 30,000 naira again, and I sent to the person in the dollar equivalent. He got the money within 5 minutes, and he got the exact money I sent to him, and I used maybe a 0 point something dollar, maybe $0.01 to send that. That was, I said, oh, this is cool. If this is the case, then let me look into this. That was 2014. Before I am not blaming Central Bank for maybe trying to ban cryptocurrency or anything. You know, what you don't understand, you have to be scared of it. All right. And also, we should be very careful not to associate cryptocurrency easily with crime. There has been crime all over the world before the introduction of cryptocurrency. People have been buying ammunition all over the world before we have Bitcoin. They've been using a particular way of transacting their business. So we should look at the benefit Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is going to give to us. Look at the number of youths that are involved directly or indirectly in this game. We should look at that. Look at the benefits. Now, I have friends that are trading cryptocurrency. Myself, I'm trading cryptocurrency. And I've been in my house, create a mini office, and I've been trading. And I've been making my money, and I pay my tax even when they are not asking for it. Do you understand? Instead of us banning cryptocurrency or looking for a way to regulate it, which is not possible, I will tell you, it's not. US have tried it. They look into it and see that it's not possible to regulate this thing. What they did is to come in as a player. And how did they come in as a player? They make sure they find a way to tax people that are trading or holding cryptocurrency. That is what they did. They look for a system to tax people that are holding cryptocurrency, which can be done in Nigeria. Look at the number. Okay, look at the figures online. A platform, Buy Bitcoin, last year did $261 million transaction. Whereas I'm not sure Q2 of last year, our stock market did up to that. That is a significant indicator that you should come in and look for a way to tax these people. How do we tax them? How do we make money from people that are involved in this game? That should be the honors on Central Bank now, not banning cryptocurrency. You can't ban this thing. We are in 21st century. People are smart now. The day you ban cryptocurrency, what has happened? Nothing. This is not the first time you issue this memo that you ban cryptocurrency. You said in 2017, nothing happened. You are saying again in 2021, nothing will happen. Rather, why don't you look for a way to make money from it by taxing people that are involved? Now, also, all the players of cryptocurrency in Nigeria, they can be seen. For example, if you go to Binance and you want to buy cryptocurrency on Binance, you use your card. And before you can use your card, you have to put in your BVN so that the CBN can know who is buying and who is selling cryptocurrency in Nigeria. It is not that hidden. We are just trying to make noise out of this thing. It's not hidden. If you go to Luno, you go to Binance, you go to buy Bitcoin, Patricia, all these platforms, you have to put in your MasterCard and you have to put in your BVN. With this, the CBN can see, okay, this person is owing cryptocurrency, and you cannot look for a way to tax such person and make money from it. Not come in and say you ban cryptocurrency. If you ban cryptocurrency, now when the time comes, when the thing finally gets to us, we will be left behind the way we are left behind in every technology. Nigeria is the second largest user of cryptocurrency in the world presently. What are we doing about that? Nothing. Instead, we are coming up with banning of cryptocurrency, which is not going to work. What would rather work is for the central bank, the apex bank in Nigeria, to sit down, call the players, the big guys in this company, in this technology, and say, how can you help us to tax your people to make money? Can you make us understand what is going on? If the likes of Elon Musk is coming in, the likes of the big guys in the world are coming in, you should know that something is about to happen. The form of money has never been the same. We started from barter. From barter, we go to paper money. From paper money, we go to plastic money. Maybe from plastic money now, we are going online. Everything is going online, and money has to be online. Now, if I'm sending $50,000 to...
Sorry, I think we had a freeze there from Ajibola Phillips. Thank you very much for your points. Let's bring in Shuaibu Idris, who is in our Lagos Network Center. Shuaibu Idris, well, let me preface my question to you by indicating that some of the comments made by Ajibola could be regarded by others who feel otherwise as red flags. He says cryptocurrency, said it twice, is a game. And he's also said that Nigeria is the second largest trader or user of cryptocurrency in the world after the US. And the world's second largest economy, China, is not in this game, as we hear. And if money ordinarily is value creation, what value are we creating that we have become the second largest user or trader in cryptocurrency? Shuaibu Idris.
Very much. Once again, good morning, Nigerians. I think preceding speakers have done justice to the topic, but I think Nigeria is number 3, not number 2. US, China, indeed, Kingsley, China is a big player in the cryptocurrency because Alipay or Alibaba, plus even the Central Bank of China, which is the People's Bank of China, has even issued, yuan or renminbi digital currency. So yes, China is a big player. I think the issue is we need to look at what exactly is cryptocurrency, as you initially asked our dear Professor Ken. Cryptocurrencies are basically a synthetic money, digital money that you don't see and you don't feel, you don't touch, and they do basically 2 things. Number 1, they act as store of value. Number 2, they are also an asset, which means you buy an asset with a fundamental objective of making money, meaning, that the asset could appreciate in value and you make money. Ajibola did allude to the fact that cryptocurrency trading is a game. Guys of these days call business, buying and selling or making money as a game. So football is a game, tennis is a game, making money is also a game. So if you buy into cryptocurrency, you are engaging in a game. I like the argument that people are positing, we cannot ban cryptocurrency. Central Bank did not ban the trading of cryptocurrency. Central Bank gave a directive that deposit money banks should not allow those people maintaining, to maintain accounts with them if they are using the account to buy and sell cryptocurrency. So you can do cryptocurrency without having to go through the banking system. And the reason is very, very clear. Why is it? It's ridiculously risky. the risk inherent in trading in cryptocurrency can ruin our financial system within matter of hours. We all know, I mean, people who are traders in this, coin know that there was a time within a day or 24 hours or so, Bitcoin price came down from $42 per unit to $20 per unit. That is almost 50%, 60% reduction. These are a kind of direction that can ruin the banking system of Nigeria and can ruin the economy of nations. Yes, Elon Musk, the guy who owns Tesla, bought into Bitcoin 1.5 billion. But hey, wait a minute. The most renowned investor of the world today is Warren Buffett. What did Warren Buffett say about cryptocurrency? He described them as rat poison squared, which meant the challenges inherent in holding and trading in cryptocurrency can be akin to, a human being taking rat poison willy-nilly. I mean, that is clearly harakiri. I'm not in any way in disagreement that Nigeria and indeed the Central Bank of Nigeria should find a way to engage the stakeholders with a view to making sure that the government and indeed the nation benefit from trading in cryptocurrency. But we need to tread on the path of caution. Professor Ken did allude to the fact that some 6-7 years ago, the Central Bank of Nigeria did think of introducing Naira cryptocurrency. And I think that process is still not torpedoed, it's still there, and we're likely going to see a cryptocurrency introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria in Naira. Central Bank of China has already introduced, like I said, a cryptocurrency backed by the People's Bank of China, which is the Central Bank of China. The U.S. has also introduced its dollar, denominated cryptocurrency, which is basically backed by the Reserve Bank of United States of America. Indeed, Kingsley, fellow Nigerians, is the Central Bank of Nigeria the only one that has decided to come out with this kind of regulation? The answer is no. Morocco has done so. Morocco did similar by saying we banned our financial system from engaging in cryptocurrency. Indonesia has done so. Singapore did. At a point, America did. Algeria did. Countries are almost too numerous to mention. I think the position is the Central Bank of Nigeria and indeed our regulators, be them Securities and Exchange Commission or the Federal Ministry of Finance, should tread on the path of caution by engaging stakeholders with a view to finding a mechanism to see if we can seemingly regulate this sector, because it is practically impossible to regulate it because of the nature of the sector. Is using encrypted code. Encrypted code gives you 3 fundamental things: confidentiality, secrecy, of security, that is you are completely above regulation. And in this day and age, when we are fighting insecurity, when we are fighting terrorism, when we are fighting financial crimes, when people are able to move monies with relative ease, and within a swift period of 1-2 days, a nation's economy can be ruined, why will any country, why will any government sit down and be aloof to such an inherent risk?
All right.
Idris, yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. We have to return to Professor Ken Ife once again. Prof, you've listened to other guests, especially Tilawa Adebajo, who actually is someone who has been engaged in cryptocurrency for a long time. Now, despite the challenges inherent in cryptocurrency, many countries and individuals are engaged in this currency. Nigeria, of course, have now been said to be the third, globally, for countries where cryptocurrency is actually used. Would you subscribe that the Central Bank of Nigeria should engage the key players in cryptocurrency in Nigeria to see how Central Bank of Nigeria can bring in some kind of a regulation because there are benefits inherent in this currency from what we've heard from experts. Is it possible for Nigeria or Nigeria Central Bank to open up, to say, look, let's engage this and understand the operational methodology of this currency and how it could be beneficial to Nigeria's economy?
I very much agree with you, but don't forget that there are 3 levels of engagement. First of all, look, let's be no doubt that central bank has been at the vanguard of involving technology or deepening the technology in the banking system. If he hasn't been doing this, investing in technology infrastructure, cashless policies in 2005, digital inclusion, he's been doing all that. That's why the bank survived. Last year, there was even 23% GDP growth rate for the financial sector. And then in second, third quarter, you had growth. No bank has gone down because of COVID-19. So there has been substantial strengthening of the digital infrastructure within the bank. The bank has been financing what you call the fintech companies and all of that, and banking services companies. So it is alive to that deed. And also we know that Fidel Castro says if you don't take a revolution, the revolution will overtake you. So when you have technology, you just have to look at follow the best that the technology can offer you, but be mindful of the risk that it poses to known quantities. We already have problem with our oil, which is 90% of our forex. And you see the instability it breeds into the system. Now, to allow a pervasive technology and the cryptocurrency around it to simply finish up the country is just not prudent. It's really not prudent. But let me tell you this. I agree with the last penultimate speaker who says CBN has not banned cryptocurrency. No, it hasn't. He says, I don't want it in my financial system. I want to understand it. I want to bring all the people that are involved in it and then gradually weave it into the financial system. He hasn't banned it. Now, who are the stakeholders he needs to consult? First of all, CBN does not regulate technology. So it cannot regulate blockchain technology. It doesn't even understand it. So you have to get all the key players that have anything to do with technology. Even SEC is a key stakeholder apart from CBN. We have the National Communication Commission, which will control which has the telcos and network operators. So it needs to understand because they're going to pass through their network. You also have NOTAB and the NIDA. This is Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency. They understand the hardware and software side of it so that issues of interoperability, issues of interconnectivity, issues of all those they will understand those because this is our role on systems. Then you also have the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit that works with Interpol and EFCC and all of those. They understand how money laundering can hit the system. And then also you have the NTA, they have drug money that's... So all of these agencies that have something to do with the big risks associated with this have to be in the frame. And then as the second one is developing a legal, regulatory, and institutional framework for the implementation of cryptocurrency. So that is the end game for that. And of course, the third area is who are the big people involved in cryptocurrency, which is what the penultimate speaker also mentioned. We'll get them involved because this is at the last mile. Who are the people involved and how do we resolve the issue of a central issuing authority and all of that stuff and the command and even the boundaries of all these agencies that are involved. You need to be clear about the delineation of their boundaries and boundary controls so that, let me give a practical example. You can have a financial gateway that shows when people who are trading on this are into Nigeria and out of Nigeria so that you can actually see the transactions. But there are many more things that can come out of this. So you need to have them. I'm not sure the central bank says I don't want it completely in Nigeria. No, it says I want to understand it. I want to have proper regulation in place. I want to be sure that we have even even the user education and user information so that people who are even in it understands what it is that they are doing and the pervasive risks involved in this as well as the technology dimensions. So that's all up for grab. And we have to address all of them before we can throw caution to the wind.
So, Kanife, thank you very much. We'll return to you in the course of the conversation. Let's bring in again via Zoom, Tilewa Adebajo. Mr. Adebajo, let's get your views on the place of cryptocurrency right now in the global financial system? In terms of settlements, it's a cryptocurrency. Is it the new way to go? Is it displacing the dollar as the dollar displaces the gold standard? What exactly are we seeing? And the points that have also been raised, that regulation appears to be quite slippery, considering also the multi-sectoral connections involving cryptocurrency, where you have to have the technology regulator who is part of it, you have to have the drug czars who are also involved in it. What exactly are we seeing? Is the central banking system, as we knew it in classical economics, under threat here?
Yes, indeed. You see, the situation, I think, as Ajibola has pointed out, is that there are two dimensionals to cryptocurrencies that is causing a lot of concerns. On the international financial markets, there are what you call bearer bonds. Now, these are bonds that don't bear anybody's names or anybody's money. You buy a bearer bond and nobody asks you questions. You want to cash it out, nobody asks you where you got it and how you got it. Now, cryptocurrencies are just bearer bonds that have gone digital. So there are two dimensions to cryptocurrencies that is a cause of concern. The first dimension is that it is an investment. So people like SEC, for instance, approve it. You can buy the companies, Bitcoins and the rest of them, and make an investment in these companies. The second part of this is that it's also transactional. And as you've said, if you take a look at global companies like Alibaba and also Amazon, I mean, that have customers globally, digital payments are eventually going to be their preferred form of settlement. So what is important, and I think why the central banks are concerned, is that if you have deposits that are backed by cryptocurrencies in your system, and there's a run on those deposits, you could also create a run on the banks. So you have to see those risks and you have to mitigate those risks. So because these cryptocurrencies right now are dual, we have two dimensions, the transactional side and the investment side. So the key side now that is taking hold, as you've said, is the settlements. So just as dollar is the international currency for settlements, cryptocurrency is now going to be the preferred form of settlements going forward. I think it's clear that that is the dimension, because you go online and you want to settle, you don't need to, if you're coming from America or Australia or China, globally, it's a global, the internet has made the world smaller and it's all global. So, and those companies are quite focused on cryptocurrencies for settlements. It pays them. And as you can see, with what Elon Musk has done, they're now also using cryptocurrencies as a store of value. People might now begin to use it as a reserve currency. So yes, indeed, that is the direction we're going. And cryptocurrencies inevitably will be the preferred settlement platform for international trade going forward.
Yes, Kirian, I just want to return very briefly to Shuaibu Idris on this same point about the global financial accommodation of cryptocurrency. Shuaibu Idris, following from what Tilewa has just explained, we are probably familiar with the phenomenon of cultural lag, which sociologists say is in the social system trying to catch up with advances in technology. But from your own perspective, and considering the multi-sectoral impact of cryptocurrency, are we in the right moment now to say, no problem, we can admit it for settlements or for transactions or otherwise, if there are also hazards? Now, Elon Musk is being hailed for what he has done in terms of investments. If Elon Musk decides today to say, look, I'm out of cryptocurrency, what are the likely shockwaves? Some big investors in the past, you guys are familiar with global financial shocks, George Soros and all that, and what they have done in the past. So what are the big risks that you and I, who probably are not players in the cryptocurrency market, ought to be wary of, considering that the shockwaves, of course, could overwhelm an economy that isn't firmly on the ground?
I think fundamentally, Tilewa has said virtually everything in the sense that the future of the world financial system and indeed settlement mechanisms will be and shall be cryptocurrencies. It may be, we may not be there today, but in the next 5-10 years, that is where we are heading to, unfortunately. Let me just look at basically 2-3 angles. Number one, restrictions. The United States of America, because the dollar has been a dominant feature as far as international trade and settlement is concerned. As of today, 88% of world trade is done in US dollars. Will China or Europe or when Africa wakes up, will we allow or will we be happy to see everything being done in dollars? The answer is no. So there is rivalry among nations and among, committee of nations that have come together. For example, in the case of the European Union, trying to challenge the United States of America's, dollar, its dominance in the trading, world trade, rather. Number two, restriction. What do I mean? Sometimes America will wake up for its own pecuniary benefits and interests, could decide to make a punishment on 1, 2, or 3 organizations or countries of the world by blocking the super highway that we use today to make payment, which is what we call SWIFT, Society for International Financial Transactions. Once the United States decides to block SWIFT, for example, that country or that company will not be able to trade in any currency, whether dollar, euro, or Japanese yen or yuan. With cryptocurrency, that is completely ring-fenced. So the United States' ability to protect or to punish anybody via the international gateway for payment that we use today will completely be eliminated. In Nigeria today, are we ready? Should we be ready? Kingsley, we cannot, we should not, and we must not be left behind. What we need to do is engagement, enlightenment, like Professor Ken said and other speakers. We need to rise up to the position and educate our populace. And it will be in our interest to look at the challenges, the potential risk inherent in cryptocurrencies and see if we can profile mitigants. What are the possible, steps that we will need to take so that we can address and possibly reduce the consequential damages that, a price instability may set in this form of asset. As we speak today, Kingsley, yes, the various apps that we have, InterSwitch, QuickTeller, these are applications that we use to make payment. These are quote and unquote part of a payment solution that we already have. They are not as advanced in technology as cryptocurrencies, but the world over, whether you go to Alibaba or Visa or MasterCard or Dyna or American Express, these are all payment solutions that are akin to cryptocurrencies, but they are at a very rudimentary stage. So the world is moving towards paperless, cashless, and virtual money. And Nigeria should not and must not be left behind. And indeed, what the central bank has been doing, funding fintech and supporting the cash-light policy, I think there are steps in the right direction. However, it is also doing the right thing by trying to apply the brake so that we don't just go hook, line, and sinker, and we wake up one fine morning, our financial system crashes because of some dislocations arising from some factors that we will not be in control of.
Okay, you said it all, that we don't just have to jump into it without understanding the mechanism and the challenges inherent in cryptocurrency. But since 2009, cryptocurrency has been around. And it has taken a long time for perhaps Nigeria and other nations who may like to catch up with it and have a better understanding of how it operates. Now, I want to put this question to our friend here in the studio, Fawaz. In some countries, some commercial banks, including some investment banks, introduce their own cryptocurrencies for the purpose of settlements and transactions within their financial institutions and corporations. Now, is that a possibility in Nigeria? Now we're talking about learning the challenges of cryptocurrency and how that can also be engaged in and ensure that if we go fully cryptocurrency in this country, that will not have our economy damaged. Is there a possibility to also bring in commercial banks here to see how Nigeria can also develop what I've just told you?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. The truth is, when you look at the space in the country, you will discover that a whole lot of young people, young entrepreneurial people, are trying to come up with theirs. You'll be so shocked the amount of, or the number of cryptocurrency companies in Nigeria that are just developing little cryptocurrencies in Nigeria. So very possible, in fact, part of what we have always said is commercial banks can be players. You can develop a white paper, develop a system, and create your own cryptocurrencies. The country can develop what we call CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, okay? Companies can come up with their own cryptocurrencies through tokenization of their assets. You can, and that's why for me, I love the fact that SEC came out last year to properly categorize cryptocurrencies. And that's where corporate organizations, commercial banks can come in. You can develop a white paper, develop a system, put together a team of developers to develop your own cryptocurrencies. Have it regulated in such a manner that everybody becomes aware, because there's the superstructure of the financial institution that the commercial banks pull that individuals don't pull. You understand? So the truth of the matter is everybody can develop a system in that light and facilitate faster payment. But with what CBN has done, I think it is, yes, it's supposed to be a step in the right direction if you look at it holistically, because, you don't want everything to just go over the roof. But they are supposed to engage, create systems, okay? Create systems such that individuals, corporate organizations, banks, financial players can come in, create their own models based on the legal framework that has been done by the regulatory authority, and you would have a very smooth financial system, whether or not we like it. We all use ATM cards today. We use our mobile applications today. The banks use it. In fact, now you can even open your bank account just going through a simple application, and you already have your bank account details. In fact, through your SMS, you can even open a bank account today. So what stops them from playing in the old space, creating their own models? Okay, you have GTB, you have all of those banks. They can also come up with a robust system, and one of the major advantages that they are not aware of is the fact that you will spend less of money in putting people, because you are running on a decentralized system that can work on its own. It's based on, and it works 24/7. So your bank closes probably by 4 or 5 p.m., business continues. So what stops us from having commercial banks having cryptocurrencies or engaging in cryptocurrencies? Nothing stops us. But there can be a proper legal framework around it. And for me, what the CBN has done is that they have actually taken control out of board, in inverted commas. What I mean by that is, if you do not allow the banks to play in this system, and the proper way through which cryptocurrency exists, which is peer-to-peer, keeps moving, then it means that you will have a larger chunk of the financial muscle go into the informal sector, go into the informal financial sector, people will pull out their funds and operate in that peer-to-peer system where the CBN or the banking industry will not be able to have access to control the flow of funds any longer. And you see that people just do it based on peer-to-peer, forgetting about the banks. So instead of them to say banks don't operate or close people's accounts or close companies' accounts, what I think the CBN is supposed to do is to encourage them, because that is how you can actually control the market. Because when I use any of those banks to do transactions, you're able to trace my transaction through the banks. But when you say banks don't operate, close up the accounts and all of those things, then the market continues to work in that informal way. And you just say that, okay, the information came out on Friday. This is Wednesday, right? There has been like 40% boom in the market. In fact, in the whole industry, nobody even feels like, oh, there is actually a ban, sort of, in inverted commas. Why? Because the industry operates on a decentralized level, and because of the decentralization, you are taking control. In fact, you are no longer in control of what is happening in that realm, which isn't really too good for our financial stability in the country. Truly, you want to have control, then use the mechanism you have in place, which is the normal commercial banks, to have the control over the transactions.
Are you saying that it could be late, if central bank does not come in now to have a better understanding of this very cryptocurrency? Will it be late at a point in time?
I feel so, because whether or not we like it, we are talking about control versus trust here. There's that battle between control and trust. Go out there and ask an average young person. He doesn't like to go to the bank. Nobody wants to go to the bank to do any transactions. You want to sit down in the comfort of your home and be able to do transactions. And one of their major advantages...
So somebody would just wake up one day, you would have sold us, those of us who are the older generation.
but the truth is, the world has changed. And we need to understand that the models have changed. You can tokenize anything through the blockchain. You can tokenize a full-blown asset using the blockchain. And you discover that each of us, and it's a function of community trust versus a few individuals who have control. So you have community of people, millions or billions of people who trust a particular model over a controlled system. So that controlled system, if you don't want to lose that control, you need to understand how to play in that industry.
Fawaz, Kirian, and the other guys, of course, Kenny Fabe, Tilewa, and Shuaibu Idris, where they are financial sector players. I wasn't kidding when I said they probably would just wake up one day and these young guys would have sold us. They're just operating in a different universe of theirs. If you recall, Kirian, as part of this is heartwarming. Now, after the NSAS protests, we had a series of programs on just trying to understand the younger generation. And you could see from what emerged from the young persons themselves and from government officials who went to interact with them at their states, that it's clear now that we are in different universes.
Exactly.
All right, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll see whether they have sold us or we are still in the market.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
For over 70 years, we've practiced healthy hygiene habits together. The world needs us to keep our fight going against germs. So let's wash our hands for 20 seconds regularly. Dettol. Protect what's worth fighting for.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the game changer, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Broadcasting in a digital economy, Maxwell Logo gives an insight. This edition also features Nancy Naji of AIT, a name synonymous with business. Meet the NCDC boss, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu. TV Guide, your indispensable companion, also x-rays the relevance of social media in the modern society. Meet some TV professionals who have impacted their spaces and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy.
Burnley is taking maximum points in their last two matches against Crystal Palace. Will they make it a hat-trick of victories when both teams square off at Selhurst Park this Saturday? Find out in Crystal Palace versus Burnley on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Babai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up, in association with Gold.com.
All right, you're welcome back, and it's still Good Morning Nigeria, and we are live on Africa's largest television network. Let's rejoin via Zoom Ajibola Phillips. Ajibola Phillips, of course, you've listened to the other guests. Can we have your own additional contribution, if you like, in a more mellow form, so that we have an understanding of it? Because when you say that it's like the world is coming to an end, those of us in the older generation, and who like things to be slow and steady, could get alarmed, just as the CBN has been alarmed.
All right. Thank you. What I will say is this: like the other speakers have rightly said, to start with, CBN did not ban cryptocurrency. I need to clarify that. They always put it out there that they are not part of whatever is happening in that industry, which I want to correct. They should be part. They should be part of this, of what we are doing. They should be part of what they should show interest, like the way they did in time past in 2005 when they introduced cashless policy. They should come in and show interest. They shouldn't send the fear out there like, oh, we are not part, everybody should panic, and they should start asking. The day they send that memo, I received over 20 calls. People asking me, is it going to crash? What is happening? I said, nothing is going to crash. Calm down. Bitcoin, CBN is right. I'm an economist. I know what they are trying to do. The demand on dollar, the demand of dollar is a prayer on them. They are trying to regulate some things, which I understand. For example, if you have 1 million naira now and you send it, you buy Bitcoin, you trade Bitcoin and you receive maybe after some months, you make 2 million naira. You are bringing 2 million naira to the market and no value has been created. Your money has doubled. I understand all these things. I know what they are looking into, and they are concerned that, okay, what will happen to us if one day people begin to spend Bitcoin and there is no naira? No, Bitcoin is not coming to dispose naira or dollar. It's, for me, as far as I'm concerned, Bitcoin or cryptocurrency will be an alternative currency at least for the next decade. It won't dispose anything. It won't send any money away. It will only be alternative currency. Now, the man in the studio said something, and I would like to emphasize on that. Why don't CBN sit down and look into the problem cryptocurrency is trying to solve and look for a way they can adopt it and make sure they join up to solve such problem. If cryptocurrency is trying to solve a particular problem, I think the best thing CBN should do is what are these guys looking at? What are they trying to solve? Can we come up with our own currency, or can we join them and solve the problem? You restricted our accounts to $100 a month. So we can't send above $100 a month. We will have to look for alternative. People will begin to look for alternative. And that is the problem. You are not helping in any way. You are still banning, giving us some restrictions. I know there is no dollar to supply. That is why you restrict it to $100 a month. If there is an alternative, a way we can send money, my own will be that CBN should come in, take advantage of what we have. Like I said earlier, I said CBN can tax people that are trading cryptocurrency. You can tax them. All of them are obedience. They are trading them. Why is CBN not coming in to issue a policy that can tax them and make sure they remit something to the bank? That will help you. Why can't you come up with your own currency like China did? China came up with their own digital currency. US is coming up with their own digital currency. Why are we copying Morocco? Do you want to compare Morocco economy to Nigeria economy? Do you want to compare Morocco population to Nigeria population? We should look at people that are progressing, not people that are going backward. This is the first time I'm seeing Nigeria in the forefront of any technology. This is the first time. We are adopting something very early. We missed the internet era. There is no single platform that was made out of Nigeria. WhatsApp is not Nigeria. Facebook, none of this is Nigeria. This is the first time Nigeria is ahead in something. We should take advantage of that. We are ahead. We are early. How do you help? Now, also, let's look at the number of employment this thing has created, directly or indirectly. People like me have been trading since 2016. I didn't have to look for a job. I'm a forex and cryptocurrency trader. That is what I do full time. I make my money. I pay my income tax. Even when they are not asking me, I find my tax myself through my lawyer and I submit it. This is what I earn. They don't know what I earn, but I'm in Nigeria and I'm responsible. This is my tax. This is what I earn. This is take my tax and give me back what I have left. If we are doing this, look at the number of people that can be employed through this method. The people that are going to write cryptocurrency code. I have friends on Fiverr, on Upwork that are being employed outside Nigeria to write blockchain code, all those things. Smart contract. The biggest problem for CBN has not even come. The biggest problem is when decentralized finance finally gain grant. That is the biggest problem. That is why they will know that what is coming is even bigger than what we are having here. By the time we have decentralized finance, which is already gaining grant, you can go and read about that. Decentralized finance. That is the biggest problem for them. Banks, we have issues because by the time people understand decentralized finance, nobody will keep money in bank again. Then what will now be the lot of CBN and all these banks? I have friends working in bank. I understand what is going on. But instead of us issuing memo saying we ban cryptocurrency, let's look for a way to take advantage. That would be my stand. Take advantage. Look at the number of people that can be employed, directly or indirectly. There are so many young guys out there now trading cryptocurrency. Many of them buying and selling cryptocurrency to people in China, to people in India, and so on. There are so many guys writing blockchain code. Why are you saying you are banning something that can employ us? Look at the number of employment cryptocurrency has created. Look at the number of volumes of dollars that are being traded on a monthly basis. How much is coming to CBN in those money? That is what CBN should be thinking. How do we make money from this thing? If people are transacting $261 million on a monthly basis, what should we make from it? That is my own stand. And also, CBN should be open-minded. I know your generation is, you are older, you are not that vibrant like us, you may not understand it on time. But be open-minded, call us. Let's.
All right, maybe Ajibola should serve as a consultant to the Central Bank of Nigeria.
It's making along with the other guests, very valuable points, expanding the horizon of this conversation.
Because just as rightly pointed out, that before we know it, the younger generation of Nigerians will even sell us without knowing, because they are so fast in this. They understand these things more than even the central bank staff. Because from all indications, it does appear that the world is changing, and they have to change with it. And as Jibola said, Nigeria is number 3 globally, in this Bitcoin issue. And the next decade, if it takes over the financial space, then of course we're going to be in trouble. Right. Now, let's bring in Professor Kenny for here. I want him to speak to what Ajibola just raised with our friend here, Fawaz, as well. So let me just ask you this. Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency, they have boomed since 2009. And can it really be regulated by central bank, assuming central bank develops interest in that? Can it be developed by central bank and so that the currency could be used as a trading mechanism in future in Nigeria? Is it a possibility?
I don't see why not. The thing is, one thing that has come out very clearly is the pursuit of a central bank issuing its own digital currency based on its assessment of the great advantages of this mode of transaction and this mode of storage of value. So there is that tendency, and we should be saying to CBN, expedite action on this. If China has sorted it out, then get on with it. But of course, there is also the second one is how quickly can you get other players on board so that you can advance on the other dimension of addressing what the risks in the blockchain transaction and, of course, in the cryptocurrency transaction. So those are two parallel tracks, and I don't think that they are mutually exclusive. So I think that both of them should be up. But I have to tell you that blockchain technology is embraced by our system, and then the CBN is supporting also developments that are based on blockchain because, it's the way to go. It's just like 5G, saying you're going to stop 5G. You must be joking because, it's a pervasive technology. But we need to understand it, especially when it now is going to run, when cryptocurrency is running on the back of it and you want it to enter into the financial system, we must understand it. We must be able to know how it is going to be regulated. In the end of the day, CBN is accountable on financial system stability, which can be rocked overnight. And then also on price stability. We haven't even talked about price stability because if the CBN cannot be on top of money supply, then it will lose control of price stability. So inflation will also be an issue for them. So we didn't even talk about that. But there are good news that if our 60% of our population are young people, and if they're embracing this technology, that's fine. So we must also see how the likes of the cryptocurrency could address the issue of, access to finance, to MSMEs and informal sector. So we have to explore how that will bring more youth into business. So we have to look at that. Of course, as a store of value, we also have to look at how it securitizes a lot of our dormant assets and all of the other assets. So it can also create an improvement in those areas. So on both counts, they're helpful. So we just have to have an open mind, as has been demonstrated and has been argued by my colleague, to embrace the change that is coming. It's inevitable, and it's also understandable why the arbitrariness of the US dollar and the corrosive attitude sometimes, not only being 88% of the value of transaction, but 60% of world debt are denominated in dollars. So if there are evidence of arbitrariness and all of those robust, then people will have to find alternative ways. So that's understandable. So there are trends that are going to take center stage. But I'm not persuaded by this rapid, just because within 2 days that the thing has gone down by 40%. When there is high risk, there's also high reward. But don't forget that overnight it could have gone the other way around, minus 40%. So we need to be sure, we have to take that on board. If there is risk, okay, why is it that Nigeria is number 3? We haven't even tried to understand why is it that Nigeria is number 3. Look at the theaters of conflict in Nigeria. All of them are benefiting from money laundering. Is it the kidnappers in the south, southeast, southwest, southwest that are not benefiting from? Some of them, when they kidnap you, they ask you to pay their money in cryptocurrency. Then you also have the crisis in northeast. Are they not benefiting from it? Is the northwest banditry trading in gold, and are they not benefiting from it? So there may be other reasons, not just only the positive one of having more people involved in positive trading. So on that count, I think we have to push and get more traction on our own central bank being in a position to implement a digital currency, and then also in rapidly ramping up efforts to engage other stakeholders to ensure that we're in a position to find a way of linking this to our constituency in a way that they can be accountable and and able to exercise some limited control. I think that's going to be that the two-way lane.
Thank you very much, Professor Ken. If one more time, let's bring in Mr. Tilewa Adebajo. Mr. Tilewa, I must admit that as the conversation is going on, I'm just trying to revise in my head the new chapters or new sections in the law of banking and financial or negotiable instruments, corporate finance, the whole idea of shares and debentures. If a company, or you have so many cryptocurrencies being issued by whoever, I mean, are they like shares? Or are they like currency? If they are like currency, does that then not alter our understanding of what the central bank is, namely being the issuer of legal tender in a particular environment? Is this globalization that is just, gone haywire, as it were? Are we on the verge of a new international financial order? And if so, how do we prepare ourselves to be real players in this new financial system?
Small business. Cryptocurrency is $3 billion a year in Nigeria presently. Now, that is a significant amount of money. And obviously, the central bank are concerned that if some people are taking Naira against this $3 billion, eventually it's going to impact on its foreign exchange. And those are major concerns for foreign exchange regulations and foreign exchange management, because this industry is definitely growing. And as we've said earlier, it is bearer by nature. You don't know who is at the back of any transaction. Having said that, I think cryptocurrencies, are helping in anything you're talking about, corporate finance. It's all about raising financing. And what you're saying is basically you have the finance and you've gotten the payment, and is a method of payment or is an acceptable instrument to settle transaction or to be able to allow you to make an investment. And I think, like you said, I think what I would like to agree with you is the fact that there's an international financial order that has been changed. And I think this is one of them. I think, like somebody mentioned earlier, there was a time when we removed the gold standard and we let the currencies float in the world and we stopped using gold. There was a time that each currency in the central bank used to be backed with gold reserves. And most central banks held large statues of gold to be able to back up their currencies. We've moved away from that. We've moved into credit cards, and now we're in a digital age. So there's a new financial order. I mean, with the internet, like I've said, you see these two massive companies, Amazon and Alibaba. Those are the companies that are going to determine the way the world works going in the future. And you have to watch what those companies are doing and how they are redefining the world order and world trade. And if these companies are going in that direction, it is logical that everybody is going to follow, including the banks, the financial system, and the payment systems. So what I have to agree with you that it is a new world order. And as Nigeria, we have to begin to take a look at this. And I think, as everybody has said, it's not as if the central bank has banned the use of cryptocurrency, but the central bank is just putting moves in place to know that $3 billion a year is in the system being backed by some Naira. And eventually somebody is going to want to change their Naira into dollars, and it's going to put pressure on the financial system in Nigeria. And I think it's a preemptive move by the central bank. Right now, you can't blame them because the economy is in a recession. We're in a pandemic, and things are very, very fragile. So it's good. It's positive development. It's good we're talking about it. Very passionate statements by Ajibola Phillips. He's involved in it. He's surviving on it. He's earning a living from it. And even as an investment, if you had put money into Bitcoins 5 years ago, you'd be smiling to the bank now. It's 3,000-4,000% increase. So even as an instrument, it's one of the most profitable assets in the world today. So definitely people are going to rush to it. So it's an opportunity, it's a threat, but we also have to take a look at the pros and cons. And the central bank is just being the central bank. We can't blame them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And let's bring back Shuabi Idris here. It is an opportunity. It is a threat. That's coming from the last speaker. we want to get your final thoughts on this matter. We also agreed here that it's a new financial order that we are going to be facing in the nearest future.
Given the last three speakers, beginning from Ajibola being passionate, being younger than some of us, and profiteering and earning a living on this, I think is fundamentally he's right. Most of what he has said. However, we need to countenance some of the reactions that we are not liking or comparing Nigeria with Morocco. China did issue, warning on trading in cryptocurrency. US did. Of course, the European Central Bank has issued digital euro. So the countries of the world are moving towards the new era of digital money, virtual money. Professor Ken also beautifully wrapped up the position of central bank as far as the need to be careful. Yes, there is asset. Yes, there are liabilities. Yes, we need to manage the fiscal and monetary policies in the light of the current environment. And I think what Tilewa has said, there are opportunities and there are, of course, threats. The opportunities are there for our young men and women to earn a living and for Nigeria to be on the focal front as far as digital currencies are concerned. However, the threat is also there. An economy that earns how much? Today, our foreign reserve is about $39 billion. $3 billion is a lot of money. We're talking of 10% of our foreign reserve that are now backed by, Naira that is could be exchanged and taken out. If $3 billion is taken out within a sweep of, say, 1 month, this economy could be in El Doldrum. So really, Central Bank and indeed Kingsley, Kieran, Shuaibu, Professor Ken, those of us that are BBC, that is born before computers, will naturally be worried, will naturally be disturbed. The powers, the Ajibola of this world will just sit down and say, hey, wait a minute, I need freedom. I don't need restriction. Leave me alone. Let me just do what I want to do. So, we have to find a balancing act in between those of us that are still.
All right. Shuaibu Idris and the other two BBC guests that we have this morning. I'm talking about Professor Ken Ife and Tilewa Adebajo. Tilewa Adebajo, of course, is a financial analyst. They are all our regular guests. I like their Shuaibu Idris. BBC, that's born before computer. That's for our generation. We also would like to thank the newer generation at Jibola Phillips, who is Chief Executive Officer of Fidon Investment Company, as well as Fawaz Sholademi, Associate Partner, DigiChain Global Service Limited. Gentlemen, it's been a wonderful conversation that we have had this morning. We also like to thank our guests and our viewers who sent in tweets. The issues that you wanted addressed in the tweets were, of course, addressed by our guests. We're back tomorrow, same time on Good Morning Nigeria, 7 o'clock in the morning. Remember, Corona is still out there. Stay safe and be well. I'm Kingsley Osadolo.
And I am Kieran Umayo. Have a great day.
This week on Executive Discourse.
Because as we speak, I can be honest enough to tell that we have over 10,000 kilometers of waterway in this country. And it may also interest you to know that you can access 28 states of Nigeria by water. If you don't put into effective use
our waterways. You cannot decongest our roads.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Now, the wise ones have said that man proposes, but God disposes. To some people, it's just a saying, but it's the truth. It's something that truly, truly happens, and I've seen it happening. Welcome. This is Thoughts for the Week with me, Cordelia Obe. Now, let's start off by, answering some of these questions. Do you have parents who maybe now have retired, have gone back to the village, maybe they're somewhere close to you, or your in-laws? You have? Now the next question is, how often do you reach out to them? How often do you care for them? Question. Think about that. There are people who believe that they do not owe their parents anything at all. That after all, did I beg you to call me from heaven? I was staying on my own jeje when you gave birth to me. Sending them to school, doing this and that, is something you ought to have done for them because you fathered them or mothered them, so they have come to believe, so they have come to say. But our elders, are they very happy with this? Not so. Let me share a story with you that our elders shared with us. The story of the woodpecker. The woodpecker is a bird that digs very well into wood and all that. It digs very well. At a point, the old mother had wanted to see him. Oh, I'll see her later, I'll see her later, I'll see her later. He kept saying that, procrastinating. And then the woodpecker had this very beautiful plan that whenever the old mother dies, he was going to dig a very beautiful grave for the mother using his very powerful beak. And alas, the mother died. And the woodpecker, on that very day of the burial, had a big ball on his beak. And so, the woodpecker could not do what he had dreamt of doing, digging a big grave for the mother. Our elders say, if your relation is dancing well in an arena, but you do not have money to dole on him, your hearty cheers would do. Put simply, you may not have much to give to your parents right now, but your encouragement, talking to them, talking with them, visiting them when you can, would go a long way. It would be like you are cheering them on for all the work they've done. We've come to see that in this region, and maybe other parts of the world, I don't know about them, I'll speak about this region. You'll find that when somebody dies, an old man, woman dies, you find everybody rallying around the children trying to raise money to do what? To go and modify their home house, or to try and build a house before they can bury their loved ones. That can be very painful, especially when, maybe when they were alive, you didn't do anything at all for them. Now let me share some of these quotes with you. To care for those who once cared for you is one of the highest honors. Parents, they didn't leave you when you were young, so don't leave them when they are old. So, our thoughts for the week. Are you one of those who believe that your parents, you do not owe them anything when they become old and all retired because they did what they had to do for you because they gave birth to you and so on? Till I come your way again, do think about these things and remember that what goes around comes around. My name is Cordelia Ogbe. Take care.
Hello, yes, it is Conversations, and we already started talking even before the camera came to us because our job here is to get you engaged in a very entertaining, educating, very enlightening manner. My name is Elizabeth. The house is, as usual, packed full with women who are ready to hit it. What will be the focus? Ask me and I'll tell you later. Well, for now, let's just quickly introduce ourselves. I told you my name is Elizabeth.
Yeah, I'm Deva Mom, and it's good to be here.
And I'm Titi Ojo. Okay.
It's a pleasure being here too.
Titi's here for the first time. I know that Titi, one of your hobby is to educate people, talk, public speaking, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Besides that, we also know that talking about hobby, that's something that makes you happy. Being involved in yourself, self-love. All right, self-love has been defined in a lot of ways, but I simply say it is, for me, there are moments when being selfish is allowed. Do you have such moments? We get to find out when we come back, and then we get to also illustrate moments where selfishness is proved, allowed, and in fact encouraged to be practiced. We'll be right back.
In the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, information management is key.
I'm Cyril Stober.
Fatima Umar Buba.
Joseph Johnson.
Ian Ray John.
Muhammad Kudu Abubakar.
Jumbo Yusuf.
My name is Kirian Umaya.
Here in NTA, we're working very hard to make sure that everything we broadcast is accurate and up to date. Misinformation spreads very fast.
The social media has been a huge conveyor of misleading information from one individual to another, then to another set of groups. In a short while, it goes viral, and before you know it, it is all over the world.
There have been several misleading information on coronavirus, COVID-19. Recently, the misconception of 5G as a cause of coronavirus is becoming widespread. Another is the belief that hot beverages and alcoholic drinks are internal cleanser for COVID-19, thereby leading to excessive consumption of these drinks.
The use of local concoctions as treatment for COVID-19 are yet to be scientifically proven. However, there has been several theories about the efficacies of these concoctions. We should stay safe and denounce all manner of fake news and misleading information on COVID-19.
For medical advice, go on the WHO website, Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC website, or stick with the advisories from the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 or other authentic official sources. NTA is one of them.
Okay, Conversations, and today's topic, ask me and I'll tell you, it touches every single person. Now, have you had this experience when you need to do something for yourself and somehow, somewhere, somebody keeps, encroaching in your personal time, and you're trying to get away from it and it's not working? At the end of the day, personally, I find myself breaking down a lot of times because maybe I need to sleep. The worst is the cell phones. There are moments I want to sleep and somebody is calling you, maybe 10 p.m., maybe 9:30. Sometimes even I wake up, I see 11 o'clock, and they expect me to pick the call. even if I wasn't sleeping, for me, I tell myself, you have family. That's family time. And sometimes you actually get to call, return the call, and it's like, I was just checking up on you. Hello, are you all right?
At 11 p.m.
At 11 p.m. Is it a witchcraft association?
For me, I feel as if that's even one of the most mundane examples or instances you could give. You know, and I think us women were particularly guilty of this, especially by the time you start, you know, you have a home, you have kids to cater to, your spouse, and so on and so forth. If you're not self-aware,
right,
before you know it, you're putting every other person
before you.
Before you. And if you're not careful, you get to a point where you put yourself in a place of self-neglect, yeah? Where you have so many men complaining to side chicks, she doesn't even look nice anymore, she doesn't take care of herself, she doesn't He doesn't know all the chores she does when he has gone to work.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what it's like to run around after maybe 3 or 4 children under the age of 10 trying to get them ready to go to school. I have seen women coming to school for school runs in their nightwear. You know, they don't come out of the car, but you can tell from the portion, you can see this person has not taken her bath today.
Wow.
You know, and then you rush back home and you do this and that. Maybe you get ready to go to your own place of work. You show up late and all this. And then at some point, you have to quickly dash to the market. And from the market, you come home. And before you know it, you are so tired from one day to the next that it takes effort to put powder on your face.
Right.
It takes effort to
do your nails.
Nails. You don't realize that you haven't had a pedicure that year and your feet are cracking.
Wow.
Because you know, your bedroom is clean, the kitchen is neat, everything else around you is in order and properly sorted out, except you.
Your hair, you know, the worst is that now we're wearing wigs. A lot of women don't remember that they still need to wash their hair.
Thank you. Steam it and, you know, give it some verve.
You find yourself slipping through the cracks, you know, trying to make sure that every other person is okay. There's that instance. There's the instance of people who have dependents, so that by the time whatever they're earning comes in, after they've taken care of this brother's school fees, this sister's business that she wants to start, at the end of the day, they're running around borrowing money to pay rent.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you now seem so irresponsible because you have 12 months to have put something aside until it was time to pass it over to your landlord.
12 months.
So why are you broke? Why are you broke at crunch time? You cannot start explaining to your landlord that actually, you know, that my sister, her husband kicked her out, so I needed to start a business for her. Then my niece got kicked out of school because of school fees. You can't. He's not ready for it. You understand?
I'll tell you a story of a man that I know.
For me, this whole thing of we tend to extort people who are selfless.
Right. Yeah.
Almost in a very grim way. There are people who will come at you with a sense of entitlement that just crushes you.
Right.
Sometimes you're so baffled that you don't even know where to start expressing your angst from. Like, are you helping me to earn this money?
Truly.
And then, to make matters worse, sometimes when you need them, they themselves
they usually are not
for
even
you.
there.
Sometimes
and that crushes you.
Sometimes it's not even because they don't want to be there for you, but they cannot be there for you when you need them. But
I was making reference to a man that I know. He lived in Lagos during his youthful age, and he took a lot on his shoulder. His children, everybody, his family members. He kept training everybody. You know, at a point, he was retiring from work, and he was well paid. He didn't have a house of his own, not in Lagos, not in his village. He went back to the village. The funniest part of it is most of the people that were collecting money from him all had houses. The man didn't have.
I have one, yeah.
And when I got a job, he told me the story on his own, you know, and told me, be focused. Map out money you want to use for charity. And when he finishes, whatever anybody is crying, the person can never cry out blood. Don't listen. The worst is, within the society, there are people, you know, who just look at you, Titi. They see you and they tell themselves, since I've known Titi, I've never eaten her 1 naira. Did you give her 1 naira to keep for you?
So you want to come and do money?
They're not broke. They don't have a problem. They just feel like, okay, Titi should be giving me money. You know? And at that point, is it wrong for Titi to be selfish? I really don't get it. I think I'm beginning to think that since they have a Stingy Men Association.
Stingy Women's Association sounds better.
Let me add something here. You know, we've talked about women and on the home front. I'm even looking at even the office environment as well. You know, thank God that, well, women are getting liberated from a whole lot of mindsets now. Those days you wouldn't see women in management. You know, it's really so tough to even rise in some of these offices. But glad that things are changing gradually anyway. But I also see a lot of women taking up that pain upon themselves to please everyone so that they can get to that place they want to get to. So, for example, it's like telling you that, oh, well, sorry, you know, in this office, the men have if you're a woman, you have to work twice as hard. I've seen that in so many places. So you see a woman working twice as hard. If there's an assignment, she sits in the office, sometimes she closes late because she wants to deliver, to be seen as I'm doing this work. And, you know, everybody has closed. I used to do that a lot in the days. I'm kind of a workaholic anyway. But, you know, there had to be my husband had to nudge me like, teacher, how many of your staff come to work on weekends? I'll be there because I want to make sure the beat goes on Monday. I sometimes got to a stage where my staff even had to, there was a day, one guy just said, you know what the time is? He shut down the laptop for me, said, where's your car key? Took it, said, you're going home right now. Excuse me, everybody's leaving and you're still sitting here. Of course, it's not because I'm trying to prove a point. Yes, I was at that point in my career, but back, you know, power of hindsight right now, I ask myself, did I really need to go? Did I really need to kill myself? So that when, on Monday, everybody will come back to work, the job will still be done. I've sacrificed family time. I've sacrificed almost everything just to make sure I'm delivering on a particular objective. And one day I read, there's this, I don't know the name of this person, but it's one of these wise sayings. I read it in a paper. And the guy says, you know what, it's foolishness. If you work, everybody's closing at 5 years, you're still sitting there. You make it a culture to work into the night. You make it a culture of working overtime. It was one thing I read somewhere, really, and it made sense to me. And the guy said, you know what, you may not finish everything in one day. So it's really about pacing yourself as well. I needed to learn that. How do I pace myself and not lose out on family time? It was very key. But I'm coming back to the part of selfishness as well. Because people will dump things on you if you allow them. Yes. Trust me. Definitely. That is just normal. Definitely. So someone that can't do the work will say, Titi can do it. And I say, Titi, can you help me with this? He's trying to get his own time free and up he goes. And then Titi now sits down and continues doing the work that someone else should have done because she's being nice, isn't she? She doesn't want to be seen as someone saying no. So you see, when you are always open to bring it, I'll do it for you. Oh dear, people dump things on you. And if you're not careful, you'll be busy doing other people's work, other people's assignments. If you're not careful, running other people's race. Until a point in your life, you will sit down, and when you do an appraisal of yourself, you will now realize that I've just been the one that is losing out all along. Because you begin to see that other people are shining because of the things you've done. And you ask yourself, on what basis am I shining? On none. Some even do the work, others take the glory. And they say, I'm okay with being in the background. Excuse me, hello. It's time to move from the background to the foreground. Yeah. Don't be content being on the background and saying, I can do all this, just give me, I'll do it for you. It's just a mindset shift that even I had to talk to myself. Like I said, I'm such a workaholic, honestly, but I needed to find that balance. And it's not about, I always bring it, I can always do it. And you work yourself out. 1 a.m. I'm still up working, 2 a.m. I'm still there. And by 7, I need to be up.
And you know, some people actually brag with it. It's a bragging right.
Oh, yes.
I don't sleep for more than 4 hours. I'm like, who are you deceiving? You're deceiving yourself.
Exactly.
I don't sleep for more than 5 hours. I do 7 hours sleep.
Tell me something.
Except if I can't help it.
If I do 6 hours, I'm not happy. I'm sad. You understand?
And you're still productive.
And when I'm awake, outside this 6 hours, there's still another 18 hours.
Thank you.
And out of that 18 hours, I'll still give myself my 2 hours of personal time. Which is
Very
when
important.
I could use to dance, which is when I could use to exercise, which is when I could use to chat. I still have another 16 hours, which I now share between office and family. And I tell people, whatever you do, family is paramount.
Right.
Family is paramount.
Exactly.
How many years do you put in service? If you're lucky, 35 years. And after that, you still have another 50 years to add when you get to 85, right? So what happens to the family you spoilt? So some of us will now think, okay, because we're working, we want to get to the apex of our career. We get there, we are the best, newspaper will carry us, everybody. Then your home is burning.
Burning, yeah.
As a woman, you didn't bother to care for your home. Your girl child is wayward. Your male child is a robber or whatever.
He's on his own tangent.
At the end of the day, you retire from the work, you go back home. You find out what you did to yourself. Even while you're working, if your home is not at peace, you can't even bring out the best for yourself.
That's it.
Exactly. And for people who might be, like confused, I, for one, I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't help people. But for those of us that are Christians, if you go back to revisit that scripture where you are told to love your neighbor, if you read it properly, it says, love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Exactly.
Meaning that you should even start with loving yourself first and then extend that to your neighbor. As a younger lady, I was so invested in selflessness. I wasn't rich. I was just your average struggling person. My career started in NTA, civil servant and everything, but I was this kind of person who would not borrow money to get myself out of a problem, but would gladly borrow money to help another person.
Interesting.
I was the kind of person, yes, I was like that. I was that kind of person who would not have enough for me, but still pass that enough I didn't have to another person and then starve, so to speak. I'm not necessarily talking about food.
Right.
And this went on for years. Like I was the kind of person who, I was the kind of friend who, if you have a party, I forget now, I'm running around, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing, and sometimes the person I'm doing it for is even lounging safe. You understand? But that, I was really invested in that. But sometimes I would find that it wasn't reciprocated. I'd be that person who, did you move 5 times? I know all your 5 houses. Because I'm coming to visit you, I'm coming to see and everything. But you've never come to visit me once where I live. But every time there's something special going on in your life, I'm turning up and I'm helping. If there's need to go to the market, I'm there and all. And it's not because I have so much time. NTA schedule is grueling, and I was working with NTA at the time. But that was my own way of showing, I appreciate the fact that you're in my life and all this. But over time, as I started feeling as if I was being taken for granted, I started pausing to reflect.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't really blame these people because they weren't asking me to do those things. I was putting it on myself and going the extra mile. So as I got older, I got to a point where I got comfortable with doing what was sensible and comfortable enough for me to handle. So unlike before, where I'd be dead broke myself, and then because some other person is in need, I'll run around the whole place looking for where to borrow money. Now, you're dead broke, you're in need, you come to me, I'll tell you straight up, I'm sorry. I'm not in a good place to help you right now. And I'm not budging from there because I know I'm not lying. I'm not trying to be mean. This is my reality now. And there's really no need for me to inconvenience myself because I'm trying so hard to be nice to you.
You're actually the nice one.
I used to be like that. I used to be like that. I'm not that way anymore because I found that it was detrimental to my self-growth. So that's the type I'm talking about. I'm not saying don't help people who are in need when you can. I'm not saying don't show love and care and go the extra mile when you can. But what I'm saying is, don't forget yourself in the mix. And don't keep doing it for people who will not reciprocate or who don't give a damn that you're doing it.
Exactly.
That's where I'm coming from.
Yes, I had a relation, a cousin actually, who would... one day I was with her in the house and somebody walked into the house. She said, if I say anything now, don't say anything. I didn't know where she was going to. And the lady came in. Before the lady could even voice what was at the back of her mind, she was already narrating. She had this litany of her own problems. And I was like, where this problem from? We've been talking since it never came up, you know? So when the woman said, I wanted to come and ask for ABCD, the way it is now, she said, did I even know you were coming to do that? Now you know my problem is bigger than your own. You can go. When the woman left, I said, what was that? She said, these people,
this is interesting.
I know she was coming to beg me, so I needed to put on a pause ahead of time because I don't even want to start listening to it. Later, even she will tell you, you need 25,000. Please look for 250. Me, I need 250. So if you can find it, let's share. You know. Anyway, we'll be.
Okay.
We're going to say something.
I wanted to say something. First, another thing I've mentioned it in my first comments, of course, is ability to say no. You know, sometimes we feel if we say no, we're going to hurt someone. But there are times you need to say no if you really cannot do it. I think that I had to learn it because I'm so used to, you need this, you just, Papa, I need 30, you will get it. As in, I'm so used to, like, I transfer, my maid at home keeps saying, Mommy, are you the ATM? I don't understand. I know every time I tell her that, well, because this person needs my help, and I will do it, of course. But there are times when the same person comes along, I have to say no if I cannot. And that's very key. But probably maybe as we move on, we also talk about, you know, not sacrificing one's personal vision to achieve somebody else's own. It's a very key thing. I'm going to talk about it. Because you see you'll be working towards some other person's vision, and at the end of the day, years down the line, you realize you are nowhere. And I think that's where sometimes depression even comes to some people. Like, no matter what I've tried, I've not appreciated. I've not appreciated in person, in my personal goals and vision. And when you even do an appraisal, you realize that you've been busy building other people's structures rather than yours. So it's really important to also live life intentionally. I think that's where I want to go. Be intentional. Even in your marriage, in your work, be intentional.
Okay, so we'll take a short break now. When we come back, there's a whole lot to be said on this topic, especially the song by If You Love Me, Wait For Me. The guys are always asking girls, if you love me, prove it. Please wait for her. We'll take this break. When we come back, Lynette will be joining us.
Of course I have. Of course I have. One has to be selfish to make him or herself happy. You get? Because you have to be happy to make others happy. If you're not happy, you can't make others happy. I've never seen a sad man who brought joy to others. I've never seen a happy or a sorrowful person who made others happy. I mean, you have to be happy to make others happy. So if I have to be selfish to make myself happy, it means that I have a plan to make others happy.
It depends because, you know, every human being, as far as I know, is selfish in one way or the other. You understand? So, and I cannot live in isolation.
Couple of times.
Why?
Sometimes you just have to be selfish to get out of some hard periods.
The main way coronavirus spread is when infected people sneeze and cough. Small droplets of fluid expelled by cough or sneezes are laced with viruses looking for new respiratory tracts to infect. When a sick person sneezes around someone who is healthy, the virus can land in the nose, mouth, or even the eyes, causing an infection. Symptoms can include fever, cough, shortness of breath. Symptoms may appear within 2 to 14 days. Seek medical advice if you develop symptoms and have been in close contact with a person known to have COVID-19, or if you live or have recently been in an area with ongoing spread of COVID-19. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting,
the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
Okay, conversation still on, and we just saw some people speak. And I know that one thing is this topic, everybody connects to it, is when heat. And we just been joined by another sister of ours, Lynette.
Good to be here.
So I just want to ask you a question pointedly. Have you had moments where you had to tell yourself, I must be selfish today?
Yes, I think so. And I think that I've had to use the scripture to actually back up. Yes, and not feel guilty.
Tell us about it.
Say, you know what? I need to escape today. I'm stressed. I need to love myself. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. So I think right now I'm loving every other person more than me. And if I'm out of the way, life continues. So what do I need to do? I need to escape. What do I want to do? I want to go to the spa. I want to do my nails. I want to do my hair. I want to buy something expensive.
Thank you.
Yes, I've been planning to buy this perfume. And you know what? I'm going to buy it today. I'm just going to make me happy.
You're making me salivate.
You know, that even reminds me, that was during Christmas. My girl had gone for a break, and I had to start cooking, but you know, dear, the whole day, the first night I almost fainted. Like, I literally was dragging myself to bed. I was knackered. But you know, one of the days I told myself, no way, I can't do this today again. This was like the third or fourth day in a row. I just messaged my husband, like, I'm really sorry, you and the boys, please, I think you take over the kitchen today. I can't. It's too stressful. Please, I had to just message. I tell you, and that evening, they made the dinner anyway. And I sat down and had my dinner, and I was feeling so
And
cool.
you didn't suffer food poisoning?
At all, I didn't. Honestly.
Lucky you.
I had to thank them, like, guys, thank you. I made this request and you took it upon yourself. I was so appreciative of that. But I knew at that point where I needed to ask for that help, or else I wouldn't say, yeah, it has to be me cooking in the house, and then I'll be standing there from morning to evening, and I want to faint.
And talking about help, you know, people try to guilt housewives that have helps, maybe multiple helps.
You have a lot to juggle.
Say, please, excuse me. If you can afford steward, cook, driver, do housemaids, gardener, laundryman, do it. Don't apologize to anybody. See, they'll say, my mother back then, she used to do everything alone.
Was she working?
No, wait, please. You know, I sat down one day and I thought about the fact of how much we've evolved culturally and as a society and everything. Do you know that back then, I don't know of other people's homes, but in my household, we always had 1 or 2 or 3 relations around and one hired help. So when you look at it, it's, okay, there's one hired help, but the thing is, I grew up in the kind of home where everybody was expected to pitch in. So it actually wasn't one hired help. It was everybody working and making things go right. So if you really stopped to look at it, my mom had about 4 people helping her with work in the house. It's the same thing back home. Everybody, including the 3-year-old, that small paint bucket you can carry, you're going to fetch water inside. So, but because they are not paid,
we don't.
My mom never had a housemaid.
Oh, really?
Hey, those are 7 cousins that were in the house grinding pepper and pounding yam and doing this and the other thing. What was that? Was that not help? I mean, it was because they were not being paid.
Division of labor.
You understand? Division of labor. But now, because everybody is in school, this, that, and the other, and you are forced to pay for it, maybe because you're living in an urban environment where you cannot really bring in 1 or 2 people to come and assist you. Now, she has 2 maids. So what does she do? Excuse me?
Oh my God.
If you can do that one for yourself, do it so that you can start looking good.
Exactly.
Thinking good. Sleeping good, feeling
Acting
rested.
good.
You know, like you don't need to.
Acting good.
You understand?
Yeah, because the truth is, when you're stressed, you begin to say things you shouldn't.
You snap at people. You yell.
You're upset.
You're upset.
Understands.
Nobody gets
you're
it.
Always on edge,
and you're always tired.
You're always tired. And then the thing is, you say the wrong thing, and it's just like, oh, she's a nag. Oh my God,
dear.
she has a temper. But no one understands that you're just hanging by a thread. Because you don't have help.
Exactly.
And you know the pressure on women these days. Women are also, women are becoming breadwinners.
Of course, of course.
We are contributing to the home front.
Exactly.
We are doing it equally, for crying out loud. So you go to your office, you know, husband goes, wife. Sometimes the wife's job is even like almost a whole day thing. She's closing from there. She's doing another business by the side. She has the kids to at least check on them. So a lot of times it's important to just find that balance somewhere. So like you said, when someone now tells you, oh, she has a house help or she has to, excuse me, you know, it's very easy for outsiders to be pointing fingers.
Exactly.
I keep saying that if you're in my shoes, you will do the same. So maybe because you're not in my shoes, it's easy to be pointing the finger. And the bottom line is if you can afford to, and why not?
Why not?
I wonder, why not?
What are you trying to prove?
Thank you.
You understand?
Thank you.
I think it's good for me to be in a mind space where my husband comes home and I'm rested and relaxed and I can be a good companion to him, make him feel rested and relaxed
Devon, the last time you were
chat
here.
with him,
Yeah,
make him
watch TV
feel
together.
good. Not that he's
Go
walking
to
in
the
through the
movies.
door and I'm already harassed and he's welcome. What do you want? And all, you know, and it's not because I'm not glad he's home. It's because I'm tired and feeling harassed. You know.
You said it well the last time you came that the reason the man married is not because you're a good cook or a cleaner. It's because he was looking for a companion in probably another chamber, not the kitchen chamber. So if somebody else can do the kitchen job, if need be, but if you can handle it, I really don't have issue with it. But speaking of husband and wife, I think we should at every point in time be a little bit selfish, you know, in investing in yourself. Right. Investing is not just the physical appearance I'm talking about. Let's see, I married probably a young girl who is a WAEC holder, that's what SSC holder. And then me too, at the point, I was holding the same certificate. And this girl borders in between maybe doing house chores, being a trader one way or the other, goes to school, builds up a diploma, builds up a BSc, builds up a master's degree, builds up probably a PhD. Right. The man is still sitting down there with the SSCE. Wow. He is being selfish to himself. And then if, at a point, a lot of times, especially if it's reversed the other way, the man is one growing, the woman is not growing. That man begins to look for his mates outside, you know, his class outside. So I think we should form the habit of investing in yourself. Even if you're not going to go to school, invest in yourself with knowledge, because I am told, you know, I have been told severally that knowledge is power.
Right. Yes, that's
you know,
true.
the more you know, the more you even avoid things like dementia if you keep reading.
That's
You know,
true.
so if you invest in yourself, it gives you confidence to face the public. If you invest in yourself, it gives you confidence to sit with the kings
even your value
chiefs
increases.
and talk.
Yeah, of course.
And your
Value.
husband begins to respect you better.
Yes.
You know, but if you sit down there and you're playing that house girl help, you know, you know how to cook a fang soup, you know how to do this, you know how, and then they ask you, please, what are the symptoms of COVID? You ask them, am I in us? Are you deaf?
You're all about afang soup. Nothing
No,
more.
but then again, although I get where you're coming from, self-growth. Self-growth is a very good example of, or self-investment is a good example of self-love.
Self-love, yes.
And I don't want to call it selfishness at all, because selfishness means that nobody else matters.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I want us to keep using the term self-love.
Yes.
It's good, but then again, like in instances of marriage, do what works for you and your spouse. Some men actually want that woman who is preparing the afang soup and the every. They
Meanwhile,
like
they'll
it
go
that
outside
way.
to go and look for the sisi. So.
Yes, but they will never bring that sissy home. They will not bring her home. She will stay outside. So just do what works for you within your marriage that you and your person are comfortable with. If you have, for instance, I have a cousin who has not allowed his wife to have any kind of help in the house.
Wow.
That's horrible.
With 2 kids.
Wow.
Nobody has been able to convince him.
Does he work?
He works.
Does she work, sorry?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, full-time.
But I understand that he has not allowed her to have any kind of help whatsoever in the house. And we don't really know where that's coming from, because it's not like they didn't have help in the household he grew up in. But he just doesn't believe in it. He sees them as a threat to the household and things like that.
Seriously.
I know she's not thrilled about it because she's had cause to complain and so on and so forth. But they're living their lives and going along and everything. So you do what works for you. But I think that in everything, for instance, in marriage, there's need for compromise.
Right, yeah.
You cannot say, this is me. I'll never change. It's a lie. It's a lie. Except you want that marriage to pack up real soon. There's need for compromise on both ends. And I think that as a partner, you should be able to tell when the person you're in this marriage with is struggling with this thing that you are insisting on.
Yes, yes.
So if you want your wife to prepare every last meal you eat and she's really struggling with it, there's no harm in backing down a little bit. Maybe you can afford to let other people handle breakfast while she handles lunch. Maybe once in a while or frequently you eat out so that she can also rest. That's like you go out with her, have a dinner somewhere and things like that, so she knows you appreciate the time spent and things like that. So I think there should be give and take on both ends with regard to this self-love thing. Don't do so much self-love that it begins to look as if you are the only person that matters in the scheme of things. That's how I see it.
That's a very good one.
Very good. But you know, again, this period we're speaking about COVID, and is raging, is killing a lot of people. I still believe that it's because we are not loving ourselves enough. That's why it's spreading. You know, I think this period is not, I've been told that if you do a lot of rest, do a lot of good food, do a lot of, you know,
it helps
to actually boost your immunity.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of times we're busy, like she said, working, is it 25 hours a day?
In fact, if possible, 26.
We're busy working 26 hours a day. At the end of the day, we forget to rest properly. Because I still tell people, you need to be able to say no. Because that boss that is asking you to do the impossibility, that husband that is asking you to do the impossibility, be the superwoman, if you break down, they're not going to see you to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you're able to say, oh, naturally, when it gets a certain time of the day, I think my body works like the windows. It starts shutting down on its own, the computer. There's nothing, you're talking to me, I will not hear you. Even on the phone, when you talk, I probably will respond. But in the morning, ask me, we didn't have that conversation. The only way I know is it's on my call.
Right.
You called me. Because naturally it shuts down. But if you allow me have that peace, I'm an early riser. I could do like 3, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
But within that 3, 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., I can give you a whole day's job.
Right.
But allow me to do my sleep at that time. So if you know what works for you, like she said, you do it. And basically, understand your body. Understand your body. Why we say it's a little bit of selfishness, people may reject it. There are times people want to come to you. I'm not one of those people that will close work and go to visit A or B. I go to my chamber, my house. And if you're coming to visit me, let it be on schedule. Don't surprise me. My door won't even open. And even if it opens, I'm going to stand by the door and ask you, you say, hey, you just closed work, you came to see me, I want picking.
I know around here where the culture of calling before you come
it's important.
Someone just bust into your
It's
idea. Like,
important. It's
the
not
phone
nice.
works. Because you don't know my state of mind. You
Yeah.
just call me.
Yeah.
You don't know what I did in the office.
Exactly.
You call me. I did it to somebody. She kept social distance. I don't want to say malice. She kept social distance with me for like 2 years.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
There are, oh, my. Oh.
Because she came to the door and I opened the door small. I said, hey, madam, I just came to say hello to you, blah, blah. I said, thank you, but my children are all grown. I refused to open the door. The only side of the door that was open was the one that was good enough to fit in a foot. Really? You know? And I said, thank you very much. I appreciate.
Wow.
Any other thing? I'm tired. I want to go and sleep. That was it, though.
Oh, dear.
For 2 years.
Oh, no.
She kept
I guess she was shocked at that.
Oh, dear.
But really, it's proper etiquette.
it's
you want to visit someone, you should call.
I was tired. And then I opened and started talking to you.
She probably thought she was closer to you than you thought.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Because, for you to encroach into somebody's personal space like that,
Just like that,
feel you guys are really, on some level that you
Yes.
didn't think you were on that level.
Yes.
And I think that's where the hurts came from.
Even if you're 5 and 6 with me, by the time you're 5 and 6 with me, you understand me. You won't even do that. But assuming you're just getting to step into 5 and 6 with me, you know, I'll tell you, and because you understand that I'm not doing it out of hatred.
Right.
I always explain myself. I'm doing it because if I don't, I'm going to break down. I know myself. Do you understand? So I need to be selfish at that point.
Yes.
And when I'm over and done, I face you. Our relationship continues.
You know, some people don't seem to understand it. Like you said, they feel close to you to the point where I could just call. I have cases where, okay, I'm in the neighborhood where my very good friend lives. I don't just, okay, I'm in your neighborhood, let me just park, open your door. I will call. Even if I'm downstairs.
I'm in your neighborhood.
I'm telling you.
Are you good for a visit?
That's
Exactly.
it. If
I'll
you don't
call.
answer the
Even
call,
if I'm at your
I go
place, I'll
home.
call.
If I don't receive a call saying I'm at home, I just go home and later I can call and say, oh, I was in your neighborhood. I even tried your number. But since you did not pick the call, I have a feeling maybe you were sleeping or something. I say, oh, really? But that's better off than just busting into someone's day.
I don't.
It's even a culture that we need to imbibe in this part of the world.
It's very important.
It's very important.
You know.
So it's even a learning.
Let's quickly interact with our audience. A lot of them are writing in, so we don't get to be too selfish.
Yes.
It says selfishness and self-love is a very important issue that needs to be addressed in our modern day because most people believe that you not putting them first. Okay, you didn't write your name, but you seem to share our topic. And my name is Blessing Joshua. I really want to appreciate you people for such a topic. You're really encouraging women because a lot of us are dying in silence. It's true. It's true. All right. I love the way Mrs. Obaji speaks, and I believe she will be a good wife to her husband. And I greet you, Dev and Mom, always on point, and the other lady. Thank you very much, Mrs. Obaji. It's a word of promise and fail. Okay. I don't know. Let's go ahead. And
that's a lovely compliment.
Yeah.
That's a lovely one, right?
Yes.
Let's quickly take this last one. People should learn to love themselves a little bit more. I wish the people can put in their names and where they're writing it from. It will make it a lot more easier. But truly, our topic today, we chose it because a lot of women, like someone mentioned, are dying in silence.
Yes.
And I think the husbands, their partners should be able to help them.
Right.
You don't take in too much. You should be able to understand. And speaking out doesn't make you a bad person.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So I generally want to encourage our women who are watching at this point in time. I think approach is important.
Yes.
So while you're saying no, don't be nasty with it.
That's it.
You see, somebody said they like the way you talk, right? Yeah. This kind of a person can get away with murder.
You don't need to be mean when you're saying no.
And even arrogant. You don't have to be arrogant about it. So,
I know you are in need like this, and I really wish I could help you. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm in a tight spot myself. If somebody cannot work with that, they don't like you.
That's it.
All right, so like I was saying, a nice voice, like especially if you're talking to your spouse, a voice like Lynette's voice, will just do the magic.
And with a smile.
Yes, you can tell your husband, actually, I need you to say it yourself.
What would you like me to say?
She wants you to give us a sample voice of how you would tell your husband that you're feeling overworked and you need a break from the household chores for like 1 week.
Let me say it the way I would.
Okay, good.
We need to talk. And then he's, okay, baby. That's what he calls me, baby.
Shiggy.
What's wrong? And then I say, I'm a bit stressed. He'll probably say I noticed. Sometimes he's so awesome that I don't even need to say much.
Oh.
Yes, he'll probably just say something like, baby, you're not doing okay. What's the problem?
Right, which is good.
Because sometimes I don't want to say anything. I don't want to hurt him. And I probably don't have the right words to say at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the truth is when you're stressed, anything can come out.
Yeah.
So I try as much as possible to hold my tongue.
Yeah.
Because if it's boiling, it may not be so nice.
When I'm upset, I shut down.
Yeah.
I don't talk.
That's a good one, really.
Yeah, otherwise I'll probably regret a couple of things I said, a couple of things I did, because the truth is you're not thinking. You're just like, you want to get out of that situation. And you really wish that the other person could understand. So the truth is, I'll probably just say, honey, we need to talk. And then he said, okay, what's the matter, baby? And then I probably just tell him, I'm overworked, I'm stressed, I need help.
Right.
And he's very reasonable, he's very understanding, he's very intelligent. So the truth is, you should marry your friend.
You got it. you got that right.
Yeah, you should
That's
marry
it.
someone you're compatible with.
Marry somebody who's willing to listen.
Marry your
that
friend.
that cares deeply about you.
Marry your friend, somebody, because if he's your friend, even before you voice it, he knows it. Sometimes they wait for you to say something because men, when it comes to domestic issues, they are usually very lazy. Most of them. So they want you to speak out. Once you do, not that they didn't notice, because they're your friends. If your husband is your friend, you can't get it wrong. The conversation actually flows better. Let's see. Matthew from Apo, he says, I greet you all. Whenever I listen to your program, I see true African Nigerian women who speak, and women are superb human beings. Thank you very much. Thumbs up for you. We're superb human beings. Good morning, Maz. What do you do if you're married to a man who cares about himself only? My name is Praise. Please.
That is not self-love. That is selfish.
That's it.
And that's the distinction I was trying to draw that time. It's sad that you're already married to this person. That is not my reality. My husband too is this kind of person who every now and then will be like, okay, I can tell you're really off, what's wrong, and we talk it over and things like that. So when I hear of people who are in a situation of somebody who has blanked them out, I really don't know what to say. Because marriage is not the kind of thing you just throw words into without knowing the full picture.
Right.
These are just a few sentences. What does she mean by he only thinks about himself? Can she give us instances? Is it possible that after she has told us the reasons why she thinks he's being selfish, we'll be like, that's actually not selfish, it's reasonable why you're thinking that way. So when I don't have the full picture, I'm wary of
and we're not even sure whether she's had a conversation with him at all on some of these things. Because sometimes you see those that bottle everything up, they don't even talk about it. The guy doesn't even know how he's behaving.
Try to have a conversation.
And there's also a time and place for those kind of conversations when you can listen.
Is when you keep quiet, you definitely transfer the aggression to someone
else. Of course.
So that's what happens. A lot of times they say that when a woman is in an office, she's the toughest person to deal with. If you want something done, look for a man to do it. They do it quite easily. Yes, I've heard that before. But something's making her behave that way.
Maybe he's a husband, right?
Right.
Yes. If she's happy, she'll be willing to make you happy. But if she's upset and she's bottled up a lot in, then somebody's got to take the heat.
All right, beautiful conversators. I'm enjoying your session. You people are wonderful and making meanings. I love this program. Kudos to you all. Engineer Peter and Joko, thank you so much, Engineer. I hope you're also taking care of yourself, Engineer, because if you like what we're doing, give yourself time. Engineers often, they're not, okay. I like your discussion in the studio, but I feel a man should be a part of this conversation. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, but it wasn't this topic.
It wasn't this topic, yes.
All right, we'll make sure there's a man next week.
We are not.
And interestingly, I thought it just flashed when we started talking about the home front there. Maybe the men, and I hope
Have
they're
an
listening.
opinion.
Yeah, because
Okay, they should send in their questions.
yeah,
The men are sending. Peter is a man.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm glad we kind of, I'm sure that was not the initial plan, but we somehow ended up talking more from the women perspective. And the thing is that if you really look at it, men tend to be more forthright about these things, you know. But a woman, somehow, we feel that the expectation on us to be as near perfect as possible is so high that 90% of the time you don't even want to verbalize what is wrong. So you keep quiet, you bottle it up, and before you know it, you're smacking children around, you're pushing the housemaid into the fire and, and other things. So the thing is, it's not as if we're trying to suggest that men don't suffer these situations, but men have more leeway than women, and particularly married women. So somehow we wound up tilting in that direction. But maybe next time we'll focus more on men.
Without cutting you short, our time is almost up, and you'll be amazed how fast it rolls. The program is actually more of women thing than men. But once in a while, we are nice enough because we know there is no real woman without the man at the back. So we bring them out a little bit. But basically, it's a women affair. And I must say thank you for coming, all of us. As usual, everybody here is working, and they still find time to come in and conversate. Thank you very much. By the way, Devon, somebody, Casey from Newi, says you should maintain your black color.
Oh, I've had it for over 40 years. It's not going anywhere.
All right. So that's selfishness on her own part. She doesn't want to change the tone.
Oh, not
at
all.
all. All right, we'll see you again next week. Whatever it takes, make sure you love yourself. That's all I'm asking. Love yourself, because if you love yourself, it includes making sure you're happy, and your happiness, one way or the other, depends on people around you. So that love will get to us too. Till then, stay safe, wear your face mask, wash your hands, do all the needful. Bye-bye.
Did you get to see the way Telebabadu posed this? Don't forget to send in your messages.
There's a difference between picking, child, and issue.
That is can do more with less people.
If we have a better way of addressing these issues, taking care of.
Congratulations, you were able to sign Timo Werner from RB Leipzig.
So you take water before your workout.
People have used their phone, using TikTok to do this.
Should I go for test?
A lot of people don't even have resources.
I'm Cecil, and this is the Medley Show on NTA.
Hello, it's a good morning from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. Welcome to News at 10 on NTA News 24. I am Musbat and Wahab with the news. The headlines. President Buhari flags off Kano Katsina Maradi railway projects set to unlock Nigeria's economic development potentials. Ministers, heads of agencies give updates on progress made as Vice President presides over Economic Sustainability Committee. Federal government to roll out the National Food Systems Dialogue across the country ahead of a UN Food Systems Summit to be convened in September 2021. Thanks a lot for staying tuned in. Work has finally commenced on the $2 billion Kano Katsina Jibia Maradi Railway project aimed at unlocking Nigeria's economic development potentials. This followed the virtual flag-off of the construction work on the vital transportation infrastructure by President Muhammadu Buhari. The president said the connection of the rail line to the Republic of Niger would not only foster trans-Saharan trade, but significantly contribute to the expected gains in the African Continental Free Trade Area agreements. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
The rail line traverses the major commercial and administrative center of Kano, passing through Kazauri, Daura, Katsina, up to the border town of Jibia and the Niger Republic city of Maradi, which constitute a significant trading platforms between Nigeria and Niger. This vital infrastructure line, with a branch to Dutse, Jigawa State, encompasses territories inhabited by close to 80 million people across 10 states, designed to open up the corridor endowed with vast resources. President Muhammadu Buhari described the Kano-Maradi rail line as a viable line that will significantly enhance the movement of passengers and freight to the hinterland, especially raw materials from both agricultural and material resources for the nation's industrial concerns.
This vital infrastructure line will establish an end-to-end logistics supply chain in railway transport services between northern and southern regions of the country, reaching Nigerian southern ports of Lagos and Warri. The project, when completed, would serve import and export of goods for Niger Republic and other countries in the sub-region through Nigerian ports. The country would earn revenue through expansion of trade and commerce, while the people of Niger Republic will benefit from ease of transportation, logistics at affordable cost in their import and export businesses.
The federal government, the president maintains, is committed to addressing the challenges posed to Nigeria's economic growth by absence of strong and effective infrastructure. He expressed optimism that when these initiatives are realized, Nigeria would have overcome the infrastructure deficiency in the transportation sector.
The Federal Ministry of Transportation and Ministry of Finance have been directed to vigorously act on engagement and concluding financial arrangement with appropriate co-financers to partner with the federal government for the development of the West-East Coast Rail Line from Lagos to Calabar and linking Onitsha, Benin, Warri, Yenagoa, Port Harcourt, Aba, and Uyo. Furthermore, contract for the important Central Railway traversing Itape, Baro, Abuja, with connection to Lokoja, and a new seaport in Warri has been signed and is expected to achieve appreciable level of completion during the tenure of this administration.
Already, the president said the government has embarked on the completion of nearly 1,500-kilometer Lagos-Kano rail line, while on the eastern corridor, the Port Harcourt-Enugu-Makurdi-Maiduguri line, with branches to Owerri and Damaturu, have been awarded for construction. The objective, he said, is to achieve a vibrant and functional railway infrastructure in the eastern part of the country. The president enjoined the private sector to not only invest but participate actively in the realization of what he called very promising economic opportunities. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And to the National Assembly, as the senators received the presidential request for the confirmation of appointments of the new service chiefs. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, also read the request for the confirmation of 5 nominees, including the immediate past service chiefs as non-career ambassadors designate. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Shortly before the Senate adjourned in honor of the late member of the House of Representatives, O.C. Prestige from Abia State, President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan read executive communications received during their recess. These include a request for the confirmation of the appointment of the new service chiefs.
1. Major General Laki Irabo, Chief of Defense Staff. Major General Ibrahim Attahiru, Chief of Army Staff. Rear Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Isiaka O. Amao, Chief of Air Staff. I hope that the distinguished Senate will consider and confirm the nominees in the usual expeditious manner. Please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest consideration.
5 nominees as non-career ambassadors. These include the immediate past service chiefs, General Abayomi Olanishokin, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, Air Marshal Abubakar Sadiq, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, and Air Vice Marshal Mohammed Usman, with Ahuhu Adolphus as Auditor General of the Federation. In keeping with parliamentary tradition, President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan welcomed his colleagues back and reminded them of the urgent need to pass some critical bills.
The Petroleum Industry Bill, PIB 2020, the Electoral Act Amendment, and the 1999 Constitution Amendment Bills, amongst others. We are all aware that the PIB is a critical legislation that our country needs to enhance transparency and accountability in the Nigerian petroleum industry.
Senator Lawan also reiterated the commitment of the Senate in addressing Nigeria's security challenge through a continuous working relationship with the executive. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Now, Security Chief of Army Staff Major General Ibrahim Attahiru says Nigerian military is working in tandem with forces of neighboring countries to ensure total annihilation of Boko Haram terrorists soon. Major General Attahiru disclosed this during his maiden operational visit to Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. Maimuna Garba reports.
The operational visit by the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Ibrahim Attahiru, was to further strategize towards ending the Boko Haram crisis, hence his meeting with various commanders within the theater, while assuring his unwavering commitment to improve on the ongoing military operations in the theater and across the country. Major General Ibrahim Attahiru said all critical requirements to enable troops succeed will be provided.
The President and Commander-in-Chief is interested in what goes on in this theater and indeed any other theater where our troops are deployed. So first-hand information gets to him and he will strive and ensure those problems are resolved towards an overall success for the Nigerian Army, for the Nigerian nation.
The Chief of Army Staff, Major General Ibrahim Attahiru, has addressed troops of Headquarters Theater Command Operation Lafia Dole Maiduguri and those on the front line in Gamdu, where he promised to look into the issue of overstaying of troops and provision of military kits as well as equipment to enhance their operations. He commended troops' gallantry and enjoined them to put in their best to clear the marauding remnants of Boko Haram terrorists. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
And similarly, The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Oladayo Amao, has charged the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole to sustain the onslaughts against Boko Haram terrorists and Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP elements in the northeast of the country, working in synergy with necessary services and other security agencies in order to ensure total defeat of the terrorists. The Chief of Air Staff gave this charge while addressing personnel during his maiden operational visit to the Air Task Force headquarters in Maiduguri and the 171 Nigerian Air Force detachments in Monguno to assess the conduct of counter-insurgency operations as well as inspect facilities and ongoing projects. The Air Chief, who arrived to Maiduguri in company of his counterparts, the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Ibrahim Attahiru, commended the Air Task Force for the recent successes recorded in the renewed offensive attack by the land and air components of Air Operation Lafia Dole and reiterated the NAV's commitment to ensuring the sustenance of critical air power capabilities required for joint force employment in pursuit of national security imperatives. And away from that, Plateau State Governor and Chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, Simon Bakola Long, says the best way to immortalize the founding fathers of Northern Nigeria is through the revival of the legacies projects they left behind to serve the needs of citizens. The governor was speaking when he received executive members of the Kaduna State Polytechnic Alumni Association in his office at the Government House, Jos. Governor Lalong will record the immense contribution of the founding fathers of Northern Nigeria, such as Sir Hamadu Bello and Sir Tafawa Balewa, to the development of the region, and particular in the aspect of education, said the labor of their passion must not be allowed to go in vain. He pledged to table the challenges before the meeting of the Northern Governors for its intervention, as he stated his commitment to personally support the institution.
How are we going to pay back to the institutions? How are we going to pay back to the institutions? Just like the protocol said, your institution is known not only in Nigeria, the whole of Africa and the world. Because I know anybody, like he said, first, some people will even run when they were applying for university. They would say, no, I prefer to go to Katpoli, not a university. But today, Katpoli is more than a university. It's everywhere, and you turn out products who assisted government in technical support. It's a lot of technical support. Otherwise, many of our engineers who have turned out to be engineers would not have been engineers. Because in your own case, you were turning out practical engineers, not theoretical engineers.
National President of the Katpoli Alumni Association said the famous citadel of learning, with over 2 million members at home and in diaspora, and has produced eminent Nigerians in all spheres of endeavors, is now facing a lot of challenges.
We are here, Your Excellency, to briefly inform you about the situation in the school. And of course, since we are with our father, our leader, our mentor, I think nothing stops us from telling him our cases, our problems, our challenges, so that the one that he will handle can be handled here, while the one that he will contact his northern brothers, northern colleagues, he can do that.
Similarly, the governor received in audience the Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Tallinn, who expressed joy at the establishment of a federal polytechnic in Shandam and thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for the approval, while lauding the governor for his efforts in the realization of his institution, as well as approval for 2 new universities in the state. This is the News at 10 on NTA News 24. More news ahead. As we take a break, we'll return shortly.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms. For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles, Twitter at NTA News 24, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24,
news and more news.
Now to more news, and we're talking politics as the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has flagged off the registration and revalidation exercise in Ogun State. He also revalidated his membership of the party at his ward in Ikenne while calling on members of the party to participate fully in the exercise. Joel Pokwola has the rest of the report.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, arrived for the official flag-off of the registration and revalidation exercise at his ward, Ward 1, Ikenne local government area. Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who was accompanied by Governor of Ogun State, Prince Akwa Abiodun, and that of Niger State, Abubakar Sani Bello, who also doubled as the Chairman Registration and Validation Committee, and former Governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, was given a rousing welcome. He proceeded to flag off the exercise and also revalidated his membership of the party. The occasion was witnessed by party chieftain and stalwarts.
Party registration and revalidation is important because it offers us an opportunity to have a credible role of our members. Why do we want to reach our people? The people are the party, and the party is the people.
The Governor, Prince Akwa Abiodun, encouraged members to participate and see the exercise as very important.
The more of us we have in the party, the merrier it is for us, and the better our chances of winning more decisively in future and forthcoming election.
With the official flag-off of the exercise, the floor is now open to old members and new members to register for the All Progressives Congress in Ogun State. From Ikenne, Joel Pokwola, NTA News.
And following President Buhari's directive on the revalidation and registration of members of the All Progressives Congress, APC, nationwide, party stalwarts are flagging off the exercise in their various hometowns. We join Ruth Aguele, who has a compilation of these across some states.
Deltons came out in large numbers to partake in the ongoing nationwide registration and revalidation exercise of the All Progressives Congress in the state. Tessie Coker reports that the Deputy Senate President, Ovie Omo Agege, mobilized people of the state and members of the party to key into the party's vision to expand its coast.
Like in the past, we need to grow this party and we need to build the party from the bottom up. Not so?
In Yola, the FCT Minister Mohamed Musa Bello called on members of the party in the state to take advantage of the exercise to support the growth of the party. Simon Asher reports that this was during the flag-off exercise by the minister.
I implore you all to really go to all nooks and crannies. Encourage everybody to register. Even if they are from the opposition, let them come in and see how beautiful our party is.
The scenario also played out in Jigawa State, where Mohamed Musa Askira reports that the governor, Mohamed Badaru Abubakar, flagged off the exercise.
The more you register, the more powerful our voices become in Abuja to seek for the federal support to bring developments such as roads, hospitals, and other social amenities to the state.
Kaduna State was also not left out, as the governor, Nasiru Ahmed Erufai, revalidated his membership of the party. Mohamed Umar Ajinki reports that the Deputy Governor, Hadiza Balarabe, applauded the leadership of the party for the opportunity given to members.
That every person who is an ardent and a loyalist, of the APC will come out do this registration.
In Lafia, Aliyu Tijani Mohammed reports that Governor Abdullahi Sule flagged off the exercise in Gudi local government area to provide an updated and credible register for party members in the state.
And myself, I here today telling you, go and register everybody. Everybody that come to be registered, register them.
As the exercise continues nationwide, members hope that the exercise will strengthen the party for the growth of democracy in the country. Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
And also the chairman of our Progressive Governors Forum and Kebbi State's Governor, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, has revalidated his APC membership as the ruling party flags of its revalidation and registration exercise in Kebbi State's capital. Usman Abdullahi Shehu reports.
As All Progressives Congress commenced revalidation and registration exercise nationwide, Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu was the first person to revalidate his membership in Kebbi State at my Alelu polling unit in Burning Kebbi. Governor Bagudu, shortly after the revalidation of membership, acknowledged the effort of the party national caretaker leadership and that of the state for coordinating the smooth conduct of the exercise.
The All Progressive Congress is the most popular party in Nigeria under the able and patriotic leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari.
The Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice Abubakar Malemi SAN was also available at Philim Maria polling unit Nasarawa and Burning Kebbi to revalidate his membership.
I think the federal government of Nigeria under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari deserve the re-established confidence that is this afternoon being expressed by people of Kebbi State.
Call on the APC members to enlighten others on the importance of the exercise in future political affairs. Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
Away from politics, the atmosphere at the National Assembly on resumption of plenary was sober as lawmakers mourn their colleague, Representative Ose Prestige. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
In both the Senate and House of Representatives, the first day of plenary in 2021 after 7 weeks of break was solemn as lawmakers come to terms with the demise of their colleague, Representative Ose Prestige. Leader of the Senate, Yahya Abdullahi, made the formal announcement to senators through a motion, after which prayers were offered.
We suspend the business of the day and all legislative activities outside of the chamber as well.
House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila said the demise of the lawmaker is a sad and painful loss.
Honorable Ose Prestige will be remembered by many of us. I know many members who have spoken to very heavy in their hearts. Our prayer is that God will comfort his family and that his soul will rest in peace.
A minute's silence was observed in his honor, and as is the tradition, sitting was adjourned to Wednesday, 10th February 2021. Until his death in a German hospital following a protracted illness, Ose Prestige represents Urban North and South Federal Constituency of Abia State. Meanwhile, Chairman House Committee on Media and Publicity, Representative Benjamin Kalu, at a briefing, reiterated the commitment of the Ninth House to expedite action on 3 key legislations.
Our target of April, and definitely before June, will be achieved verbal.
These are the Petroleum Industry Bill, amendments of the Electoral Act, and the review of the 1999 Constitution. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Now we're from the National Assembly. Adequate implementation of the National Health Act would strengthen the health care system as well as some inadequacies in the health sector, including funding and utilization. This was a thrust of the 2021 annual retreat on sustaining financing for health in Nigeria, the role of health advocates. Basi Itaikman reports.
Health financing is fundamental to the health system, without which experts say no health promotion or prevention would take place. These stakeholders in the health sector are gathered here to brainstorm on how to fill this gap.
I realize that we have a challenge of effective and efficient utilization of funds. Yes, what we have is not enough, but are we getting the expected return on what we have now?
The Minister of Health was represented.
We've seen where our policies we develop at the national level, strategic frameworks, and all the guidances are not fully operationalized at the subnational level, where they are expected to be, so that we can see the maximum impact.
The need to challenge states and local governments to commit to health financing was also discussed.
So all the three arms must prioritize health. Health must be number 2, particularly at the federal level.
The advocates have come to stand in gap to remind government of what they had promised, to remind the legislature, because we now know that a political will must be given to deliberately and intentionally fund health care.
6 new members were inducted as health advocates, among who was the former Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale. Without health, there could be no economy. Those are the words of health experts, citing the effects of the pandemic. They therefore stress the need for collective efforts in infrastructural development in the health sector to stop brain drain. Basi Taipa, NTA News.
The Northern States Governors Forum has again condemned every form of criminality, whether from herders, hunters or farmers occupying forest reserves illegally, noting with concern the tension generated by the eviction order issued to herdsmen in some parts of the country. This is part of the resolutions of the emergency virtual meeting of a forum held on Monday to discuss issues affecting the region and the nation in general. The meeting, presided over by the chairman of the forum and Governor of Plateau State, Simon Bakola Long, also expressed concerns about heating up the already fragile security atmosphere with threats of reprisals, which they assure, with concerted efforts, will be contained. They, however, maintain that the current system of herding, conducted mainly through open grazing, is no longer sustainable in view of growing urbanization and population of a country. Consequently, the forum resolved to aggressively sensitize herdsmen on the need to adapt new methods of herding by ranching or other acceptable modern methods. The forum is also appealing to the federal government to support states with grants to directly undertake pilot projects of modern livestock production that will serve as a springboard and evidence for breaking resistance to the full implementation of new methods of livestock production. A statement issued by Governor of Plateau State and Chairman of the Forum, Simon Bakola Long, indicates that some of its committee reports are at various stages of completion. They resolved that all reports should be turned in before the next meeting scheduled for the end of February in Kaduna, where the reports will be deliberated upon. This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We're taking another break. More news afterwards. Stay with us.